I was kind of booping.
Yeah. That's why he's the smart one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Fuck the intro, by the way. Kris here. Bryce is here.
Yep.
Tech Guy's also here. It's pretty
That's me.
par for course. So we're going to be doing a new segment right now that I call, I didn't think of a name of it. So we'll go like, let me think. Like, holy shit, whoops. So, last episode, we had a little bit of a yikes happen where the like main plot twist of the show, I literally just didn't bring up at all. That's a pretty big deal. So if you watched last episode and then this one, you will now know that the person who caused the accident that killed Molly's mother in the last one was the main villain. And I just never said that, which was like kind of the entire point of a full episode of the show right at the end. And I literally just didn't mention it. It actually makes a lot of it make significantly more sense until you think about it, and it actually makes it make a lot less sense. But you know,
yeah, he told me that like outside of recording, and I was like, you know, it was the Devil Bird Man, and it's that still doesn't necessarily make sense. Like, why is he picking on someone specifically random if that kind of spiraled into his own demise? Like 100%.
He didn't know, Kris. He didn't know, but he knew literally everything else like was gonna happen.
Yeah,
not that far.
And not the fact that he caused everything else to happen.
What he didn't anticipate was Jordan. Okay.
Yeah.
My memory of the last series has gone down significantly in the past 2 weeks. I do remember Jordan though, for sure.
Yeah, I remember Jordan because like I could see the other Jordan, my brother, dressing up like Jordan from that show.
I think Jordan would make a good Jordan.
The Jordan in that show has such a gross fade, bro.
Oh. Yeah.
Justin is right now trying to show me something like, you know, be like a good stagehand, but we turned the lights out and it's completely dark.
That's my picture of Jordan from the last episode.
It was Bryce's drawing. Episode.
He's got a fat ass.
Am I supposed to?
Am
I supposed to explain this to the viewer?
Like, he's just showing.
Okay, you're just showing me, but you're not letting the audience.
We already looked at the picture, bro.
Yeah, the audience already knows about the picture. I'm just,
dude,
we were talking about last episode,
the Adam's apple on Jordan.
Also, the Badonka kind.
Well, the thing is, I feel like the Adam's apple is proportionally bigger than the butt.
Is his ass just that big, or did he shit himself?
I think that's both.
It was already a little big, but like the scat kind of like made it a little bigger.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's great.
Okay, that's good enough. Okay, take it back. All right, let's get started here.
So we're gonna be covering Terra Formars today.
Not Terra Formars.
Well, the series is about terraforming Mars, which is why he called it Terra Formars, because it includes the word Mars and terraform, but it is pronounced terraformers. Probably bad spelling on that.
Yeah,
no,
but it's just a pun. That's literally the only reason it's like that.
I think it's a cliche.
This series is a seinen series that came out fucking like.
Wait, what?
No,
What'd you say?
I'm confused by that.
I mean,
what'd
you say?
I meant to say it's a.
Did you just say it's a cliche?
No, I meant to say. Oh my fucking
I mean that's what he said, but
what did you mean?
Did you mean a pun?
No, I meant to say it's clever. That's what I meant to say.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a clever.
Completely different.
Just move on. I was.
Hey.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So this came out in 2011. It was published by Yu Sasuga and Kenichi Tachibana. It was published in Weekly Young Jump. We're going to talk about this a lot. What this was marketed towards is shocking if you're from the West. This is supposedly marketed. It was labeled later as a seinen series, but initially the shit was actually labeled as a shonen, and was praised as the best manga for a young adult men between 13 and 21, multiple years in a row.
Well, that's a young jump.
Yeah. And the thing that's weird about this series,
that's a clever right there.
Real quick, it was finally translated in 2014. That's actually when I read this. And the anime got a abridged version in an OVA form of the Bugs 2 arc, which we'll talk about. And shortly after, they received a full season that same year. And it has, I wrote here that it has a spinoff called Terra Formars. It actually has like 9 spinoffs. So there's one called Terra Formars Reinhard, which is about a character named Adolf. There's one called Terra Formars Crab Gaiden, which is about a guy named Asimov. There's one called Terra Formars Michelle, some word I don't remember. And that's a erotic gag series. There's one called Terra Formars, like there's one about Keiji Gaiden, which is about a character named Keiji. There's another one that is like the police one, like I mentioned here. There's one that's a fucking like a chibi spoof series, like that one Attack on Titan one where they're in high school. There's fucking so many, dude. It also received a live action film, which, as I put here and mentioned last time we talked about a live action film, I'm sure was much better than the original content, as it usually is. And lucky for us, this series has something I'm going to be talking about a lot, which is this. This is, in my opinion, the most violent manga I've ever read. I can't think of anything close in terms of like just how graphic it is. Battle Royale is the only thing even in this stratosphere in my eyes. It is insanely graphic. It's also got like some nudity, but very little compared to some other series.
Just enough for a 13-year-old to 21-year-old male.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, probably not enough for them. That's like that.
Oh,
that's
really?
like that prime fap age. True. A little more than that. But yeah, no. It's got some. The series primarily focuses around a plan that is enacted in the 21st century in order to. So they send a shuttle to Mars at the end of the 21st century.
Who's they? Just like Earth people?
The entire planet forms a collective space union called UNASA, which survives for another 400 years.
That's
ununified.
Crazy.
Ununified for over 400 years. Holy shit, that's crazy. But yeah, they put all this shit on Mars. And what they do is, it's the idea of the terraforming project. This is feasibly possible in real science, by the way. A lot of what they talk about is feasibly possible in real science. But I mean, we like I said, this series takes place in 2577. So it is a long time off, but a lot of the science in the show is actually intriguingly pretty accurate. And one thing that I like that the author does is, if science is inconclusive about something, he'll be like, current reason for this phenomenon unknown. He will literally put, if there's no reason no way that he can explain why the fuck this thing's happening, he'll just say scientists are currently unsure as to why the fuck this is happening. That comes up a lot for specific things that he covers. But the idea is, you put a bunch of moss, you grow moss all over the surface of Mars, and to spread the moss, you put millions of cockroaches on the planet. All the cockroaches will eat the moss and spread it as they eat it, which will spread the seeds, and eventually the moss will cover the entire planet, which will produce enough oxygen and carbon dioxide for other plants to live there, and so will humans.
How do the cockroaches live there in the first place?
Cockroaches can actually just like survive with very little oxygen.
So like, is it proven? So it's proven that like you can put a cockroach on Mars and it would survive.
We could probably do that. Yes.
Shit, why don't we do what they're doing right here?
Maybe because they read this.
I mean, they have to fucking like.
Could we just get like a goddamn?
Yeah.
I mean, we could do it.
We could do it, but it would like the amount they sent people there to put them there. You know, like we are not sending people to Mars right now.
I mean,
we could, by the end of the 21st century, we might be able to, though. That doesn't sound that far off.
I mean, we could like dedicate ourselves to try to do it. Like we can build like some really big paper airplanes.
Also, in real life, I think this would work a little better. What's up?
Do you think by the time that we get to the point where we could do it, they would think of a different idea?
Maybe they just like put a big bubble around it and they just inject it with oxygen, kind of like Sandy Cheeks, except it's like an entire planet.
Do a Sandy Cheeks moment.
The whole thing is the series details 3 ships that go to Mars around 2577. The main portion of the series starts in 2577. There are 2 parts that take place, one 20 years before that, and the other, I believe, 20 years before that. The missions are called the Bugs 1, the Bugs 2, and the Annex 1. And they all are sent to Mars in order to just get rid of the cockroaches. Obviously, you don't want to live on a planet just covered with them. That's all they're there to do.
That is gross.
So they send 3 different groups to do this. That's all their job is. Now, when they get there, something happens or they're like, oh, dark. We didn't see that coming. So they keep it an international secret, the entire series, from the general populace. Eventually that becomes impossible. But another thing worth noting is that a lot of this series is like very like political drama-esque because of the fact that the entire fucking planet is united as one worldwide space program, which causes a lot of problems that seem pretty obvious that they would happen to me, but the characters in the show seem a little surprised by this sometimes. And I'm like, yeah, y'all are just fucking morons.
Honestly, I feel like is that like a heavy thing?
Yeah.
Is political commentary and all that?
Oh yeah.
There's like you can say what you want about the sexual stuff and the violence, but that has to be the main thing about like that is not for kids.
Yeah.
Like what kid wants to do that shit? It's like
teenagers, Kris.
It's like Magi. Like I enjoyed the first season, but
dude, especially the later stuff in Magi, that shit is like the most political drama I've ever seen in my life. There's almost nothing like that. It's fucking crazy. But getting back into this, one other thing I wanted to bring up is the women in this series. He makes a point when he introduces a female to mention their cup size. And one kind of fun fact I wanted to bring up is whenever a Russian chick gets their cup size stated, he states that their cup size is actually too bigger because they are an F cup by quote Russian standards. So whenever I mention someone's cup size, bear in mind if I say by Russian standards, add 2 letters to it.
Thank you for
I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Bro, I have to because he thought it was worth bringing up. So I'm going to bring it up, Kris.
I'm glad you're bringing it up. I'm going to be able to see if they're like large or.
Yeah. Some of the pictures are not the greatest that I gave y'all for that specific purpose, but some of them are.
I don't really need that knowledge, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah. All right. Give me a second.
You want to move the keyboard?
So, you know how I said that
what
this series is the most violent thing I've ever seen before. This is some murder scenes from the manga compared to the exact same scene in the anime. I'm not kidding you. The pictures on top and the pictures on the bottom, barring the ones on the right side, are the exact same scene. So Bryce is pretty smart here. Can you go ahead and observe the differences between the top middle picture and the bottom middle picture? What's a little different about those two?
Hold on, it's kind of hard to see. Oh, like her body just like being shredded is not shown.
Yeah. So you want to explain how they blocked that out? What creative editing tricks they used?
Just put a dark. They just put a black line. They just like covered part of the screen and just black, and just cut off the part of her body that's cut off in black stuff.
It honestly makes it look like she might not be absolutely fucking demolished.
Yeah. And I like the one on the left is one of my favorite censorships of all time because
what is he holding?
I remember that.
That is her head.
That censorship.
Oh.
He is holding her head. That's why the body in the back has a circle on it too, because that's where her head was.
Oh.
So what's up with the basketball?
That's the thing I was gonna bring up. That scene has been memed to death, dude.
Oh, okay.
There are literally hundreds of pictures of that roach holding different shit, dressed as different stuff.
That's a roach.
What?
We'll get to that. Okay.
Okay, I would have, dude. Okay, I was thinking that like some kind of like alien beings or something had like grown there, but you saying it's a roach, like, I don't know. I'm not gonna say like ruined it, but like I guess that's kind of a really good reveal anyway.
You ever heard of moss?
Bro, the moss
The
got
moss
so
grows me big and
I was gonna say,
strong.
the moss got so dank that they just grew.
Dude,
holy shit, that's a roach.
Yep.
What the fuck?
But yeah, it's a roach.
I'm
ready to fight
looking forward to
JoJo
this.
characters.
So the roaches are super fucking violent. And the way that they describe it, so you know how like
does he have hair?
It does look like he has hair.
They look kind of like they have like a little bit of a fade, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Some of them have like a lot of hair,
Like,
but that's for a specific reason.
I haven't seen the
Thing's
like
face.
new aged, like the one where they got the AirPods in.
So the thing is like every scene where a roach kills someone, they censored completely. Like they just put a black bar all the way over it, so you can't see anything at all. This has to be the most censored anime of all time. I can't really think of anything like this that is quite this bad. There are some scenes in like shows like JoJo where like somebody will get like fucking like stabbed in the neck and their like blood will be spraying out of their neck and it'll have like a little kind of a darkening effect around it, but you can still really easily tell what's happening. Yeah. You probably wouldn't be sure what's going on with that chick if you looked at this picture.
Yeah, seriously, looking at it, it does not look like death is necessarily occurring. Yeah, like every single indication of it is gone.
I know they cut it off completely. It's very strange.
Yeah, I was thinking about like in JoJo, like when someone's just getting impaled or something, there's just like a black area.
And they did a bunch of things to it. It's not just the blackness, but they also like created a huge light in the back and lit up the face. So you're just going to look at the face.
Well, I'm somewhat sure that this series was made by the JoJo people, but let me tell you what they didn't get was a similar budget. Because damn, this anime is atrocious. But it'd be like that. Also, like just generally looking at this, the artwork for the manga is incredible. He is very good at drawing people compared to like how they did in the anime. So
it's really interesting.
And the roach. I mean the stance is completely different in that censored picture.
Is it though?
It's
Yes.
a little.
I don't
looks
know.
Literally the same, except he's bent over just a little bit more,
which is pretty important actually. Okay. We're going to talk about the Bugs one. So this is the crew of the Bugs one. This is chapter 0. So interestingly about this came out after the series had already been out for like 40 chapters or so. The thing about the Bugs one is this is the whole crew. This is all they brought. They got guns and one sword. They show up and the story starts with this guy in the middle. Fuck if I remember his name. He doesn't matter. And
I like how he's just so in the middle. And you're like,
why do they even have guns? Like, did they scout these things before they came here? Like, they're just roaches.
They did. I was going to get to that. So the reason so they're talking while they're on the ship. So first of all, it starts with the guy in the middle being like, "Hey, when we get back, I want to marry you, hot
Classic.
chick." They ain't getting back. Chick's like, "Oh, sure."
That means she's getting back, I believe.
And so whenever they get there, he's like, "Yeah, we finna go dope." And then they get to the place and they're like, "Okay, so we've landed on Mars." You ever think it was weird that they gave us like so much artillery? Like we're just killing like roaches, right? And then this guy's like, "Yeah, I mean that's fair, but like it will be faster with guns." And he's like, "Well, really? That seems a little.
They should be tiny.
They shouldn't be that big."
Yeah.
And they walk out of the ship, and there are literally dozens of the human-sized roaches just sitting there, and they're like, "Yo, what's up?" And then the roach walks up to them and sticks out his hand, and the guy goes to shake his hand, and he's like, "We didn't know there were Martians, dude." And the roach uses his arm to slice him in half. And the other 5 watch this happen, and they're like, "Holy shit, close the fucking door." And one of the roaches gets in and kills all 4 of the other dudes immediately. But before he did that, he punched a hole through the heart of the chick. So she's already dead immediately.
So he killed all of them.
He kills all of them. But the guy right here, he gets to kill. There's a part where he cuts the roach's head off. And the guy with the black hair literally just is like, "Yo, we got one." And then the roach doesn't need a head to live. So he just reaches over and grabs the black haired guy and just rips his head off. Oh. And then the guy in the middle is like, and they just start slicing his body to pieces. And so they killed one roach with 6 people.
Okay, successful mission.
Yeah, so then he walks over to the transmission machine and he's like, "Holy shit, don't come back," and then dies. So that's all that UNASA has to work with for a long time. And they're like, "Well, okay, so in 20 more years, we're obviously going to go back with the exact same plan of just killing all the roaches." So that's when we go from the Bugs 1 to the Bugs 2. Dude, the Bugs 1 is one chapter.
Whenever you say that, like every time I think of like a movie like Bugs Bunny, it's like Bugs 2. Return of the Bunny or some shit like that. I don't know, dude.
So this is the crew for the Bugs 2, plus their
wait,
doctor.
wait. I need to know why did you say, oh my God?
He's looking at titties. He's looking at Maria's titties.
Yeah.
Let's go, Justin. All right. So this is the crew.
Honda.
Wait. Why don't you
Wood.
just right now tell him what the cup size is?
The cup size of this page.
Yeah.
I believe we're looking at so Ming Ming is I think D, Aki is E, Maria is F, and Woods is B. Doesn't look that much smaller in my opinion, but whatever. That's what he said.
There you go, Justin.
So there you go.
Why
Let's
do you
see
guys keep saying my name? Why you gotta dox me?
Wow, dox you. We're on a
Yeah.
podcast together.
Oh,
Speak up.
I am.
Let your opinions be heard, man.
I've got a cat on my lap, dude.
So, the
Yeah.
microphone is right in front of you.
I can't reach it.
But you can't lean
Oh
forward.
my God.
Yeah, what do you mean? You just did it.
cat
bro.
procedure, bro. All right. So this is the notable members of the crew. There are 16 total. The Honda guy in the middle is not actually on their crew. He is the one who performs what I'm going to refer to as the bug surgery. We'll get to that in a second. But there's this whole part where they're like, so how are we supposed to be? So the idea is that roaches, if they were to evolve to a human size, are way stronger than people and way faster than people and way more durable than people. They're just the fucking size of, they're just this big. But if they were to be the exact same way, proportional to human size, they would be essentially superhumans. So it'd be like no way you could stop them. So the idea is how do you beat that other than copying it? So what they did is they designed a surgery where they would essentially fuse their genetic material with that of an insect of some kind. And whenever you would inject a certain hormone into your body would react with it, causing you to evolve temporarily into a human-sized version of said insect. Every single person was given a different insect to turn into so that they'd have various functions. But for the most part, that's the gist of it. So
I'm looking forward to Ant-Man.
yeah, Ant-Man is actually in this part already.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I figured.
the thing that is grim about this is they didn't tell them why they needed this surgery. They just said, yeah, you need this surgery.
Why?
You need
So-
you need superpowers.
Yeah.
They're not
Don't
gonna
you
tell you.
feel-
They needed
that.
people to sign up for this. That was one of the things is they couldn't legally justify making an actual program for this where they forced people to go.
Well, that's fair. I'm
Yeah.
glad they didn't do that.
Yeah, so they had to, it had to be a volunteer only basis. One thing that's fucked about this mission is they sent the two main characters of this part, Aki and Shokichi, have been friends since they were very, very little. And most of these people are in enormous debt. And that's why they're willing to come on this, because if they succeed, they would be set for life. However, I mean, it is true. The people who live through this are set for life. Like very much so.
But they got that PTSD, don't they?
And also death TSD beforehand, probably.
Yeah.
They dying.
But yeah, in this whole scene, all these characters here, I'm going to tell you now only 2 of them live. Okay. Out of 16. Most of them get actually slaughtered. Like it is bad. But before they get there, they're all talking about how like insects are kind of gross. And they're like, yeah, can you imagine like if they like they're making like jokes about it, like the roaches, like they didn't get rid of them first before they sent people there and all that shit. And like that'd be fucking nasty. And the main character is terrified of roaches and his girl's not. She's like, I don't think they're that bad. I think they're pretty cool. And then when they get to the planet, right? Those two go on like a survey mission. And so what happens is they're Shokichi and Aki do. And when they get there, she's like, oh, look, dude, look, is that a Martian? And they see the dude, and Shokichi's like, yo, hey, dude, what's up? How's it going? And he goes to like reach out his hand to the guy, and he's like, dude, they didn't even tell us they were Martians. This is so cool. What's up? Like, I've never, how's it going? And the roach just obviously can't speak English, so he's just kind of looking at him. And then this happens. The roach goes to reach his hand out to his, and reaches right past him, grabs his bitch, and puts her neck in an L shape. And she's dead instantly. Now, this is right after, actually, I said she's dead instantly. She gets to have like a 2-sentence speech here, and then she dies. But there's a whole part where he grabs her immediately and runs off, and he's like really fucking mad, obviously, because they didn't tell them these things existed. So they didn't know that they were hostile, which is why this even happened in the first place, to be honest. But whenever they get back to the ship, he immediately tells everyone, bro, if you see one of the fucking monsters, kill it or run. And so they start taking the medicine. The medicine's like this little syringe that they have, and they inject it into their neck to put in like the hormone. And whenever they start fighting, they all look different, obviously. But one of the things that is like what changes about them is different for everyone. Like one of them is a locust, so his legs are strong AF. He can like kick super, super fucking hard. Then there's one who like there's this bug that can like release gas from its body in the form of like almost like a flamethrower, but because he's huge, it's like basically like a heat laser and stuff like that. The main character is a Japanese giant hornet. And Japanese giant hornets have stingers. His stingers like come out of his like knuckles, like Wolverine's claws. And he like will like punch a hole through your head and then like inject like poison that like erodes your body out of it. And that's kind of his gimmick. It's pretty cool. But the thing that's crazy about this part is they start fighting, and they have like, they'll be like so much stronger than the roaches. And then the roaches will like grab a leg and start like grabbing onto your legs. And another roach, while your legs are grabbed, will just use his hand and just slice your head off. And then it's like, what are they supposed to do? Because there's a point where like they mentioned, remember, there are millions of them on the planet.
Yeah.
So they got that instinctual also, like murder procedure.
They work together. The roaches are terrifying because they work together. Number one. Two, they actually have a strategy. So there's like a part where like they knew that this group was gonna, because they destroy the bugs too, and then they knew that this group was gonna go run to find the bugs one. So they had already raided the bugs one, taken anything of note out of the bugs one. Then they went and hid underneath the ship so that if they ran there to try to find it and found it so that they could leave on that ship, they just fucking come out from under the ship and kill them. So this does happen. So there's a lot of things that are going on here, but then we have to get to the part with Honda. So the Dr. Honda.
Wait, I got a question. Is there any precedent that these things would actually be like, if this happened in real life, that they would be hostile? It's just a.
So the reason that they give in this show is that someone somehow, so they come to the conclusion that this form of evolution at this rate is not possible. This should not be possible whatsoever. And they agree with that in the series. They're like, we don't know how this happened, but somebody somewhere did this to them and told them that humans were the natural enemy. Like it's almost like it was imprinted in their DNA. When you see a person, kill that person. So, and it's weird because like later on, there's like roach human hybrids. And they don't care about those, but any pure human, they will kill on sight. It's not even, they don't even think about it. And they also target the weakest person in sight. They never target the strongest one first. They always kill the weaklings first and then target the stronger one, which is like, there's some pretty dark scenes that happen because of that. Because their target is always whoever is the weakest link, which is the thing that they compare it to is it's like what happens when you see a bug is you just kill it. And then when they see a human, it's like, slice you in half, you're done.
Yeah.
The thing that is interesting about the situation is so they send everybody out of the ship and two people are left on the ship that they believe one of them died. And then the other, they actually believe both of them died. One of them is what's called an emerald wasp. And what she does, this Wood character is, by the way, Maria gets sliced in half and dies. David is an ant. And as an ant, he's like, so the ant is considered to be physically the most powerful organism on Earth proportional to its size. So whenever he's big, he's like literally grabbing them, like suplexing them, and it's like crushing their bodies in half because he's so strong. But eventually they just he's the guy I was mentioning where they just grabbed onto all his limbs and eventually cut his head off. And so they're like, he was the commander of the operation. And then there's Ming Ming. So at a certain point, the only people they believe are left alive is Tien, Shokichi, and Ming Ming, and they're running on this like little like rover that they have. Now Wood and Hiruma pretended they died because they are being paid by Honda to bring back a sample. He wants a living, breathing roach to come back.
What?
Honda's with them, right?
No, Honda is a scientist who made the bug surgery. So he's the one who was the surgeon that operated on them.
Okay.
So Hiruma and Wood are just totally fine. So what Wood's power does is she can enter the body of other organisms and like control them like a parasite. So she pretended she died and then climbed into the body of a roach and walked back into the bugs too. And then Hiruma, when he dies, enters this like pod where he can break back out and come back to life. So his power, he is nearly unkillable, because even if you kill him, all you have to do is add water to the pod and he wakes back up.
What?
So he's essentially unable
What
to
is
die.
his bug?
I actually don't remember what it's called. It's like I call it like a chrysopod insect of some kind. There's a lot of bugs that I'm not going to know the name of, but he wakes back up. And so their job is, like I said, they just want to take one alive roach back. They think they get it. The roach gets out and then he kills Wood. Hiruma is like, well, this is not worth my pay. So he runs and he ends up meeting up with Shokichi, Tien, and Ming Ming. Ming Ming, by the way, around this part, one of them grabs onto Ming Ming's leg. So they go to like drive past a group of roaches. And while they drive past, one of them grabs Ming Ming's leg, like, because their reaction speed is so fast, and then like just flings her to the ground and they just rip her apart. And so they're driving off back to the Bugs 2 now. And Tien is standing outside the Bugs 2. And he's like, yeah, you two are like so much younger than me, bro. I've literally been homeless for like 10 years. And he's like, I'm just going to hold down the fort, chief. Y'all do whatever you need to get the ship going. And so he injects like 3 of them into his body at once, which you're not supposed to do. So he literally turns into like a full like locust dude. Like his head is a locust head now.
So,
and he's just kicking the fuck out of him.
But why would they attack him at that point?
Why would they attack him?
Yeah.
They're trying to get in the ship. They just can't. So whenever you take a bunch of the medicine, you actually become a pop-off god until eventually they kill him. And then right around when he dies, one of the roaches still gets in the ship, and Hiruma is like using his ability to not die to just like tank a few more of them while Shokichi gets the ship running, and they do make it off. So obviously the only 2 people that live were Japanese. That's how this works. And they come back to Japan.
Wait, so did they kill all the roaches that were in the ship too?
Yeah, so they get away. They bring back no life samples. It doesn't end up happening. And this is where the Bugs 2 arc kind of ends, is on them coming back to the Earth, and you don't actually know what the repercussions to that are quite yet.
So how long was that?
This part, it was like an hour.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this happened in almost immediately. Yeah.
So what is Shokichi's bug power?
Oh, he's a Japanese giant hornet.
Okay.
He is fucking cool. He is really cool. But
bro, I like ant guy.
What makes him cool?
Yeah. His power is fucking.
Bro, he looks like he looks like alternate universe powered up Shinji, bro. Look at him.
Oh.
Go back.
Go back. We need to talk about this. He looks like alternate powered up
alternate
Shinji.
universe.
I think the outfit is what makes this.
I mean, yeah, he's got that. He's got that blue
hair.
and white spacesuit.
Is their characters, I think, look more like Shinji, and they all wear this fucking outfit. So,
oh wow,
you might have.
They all got that Shinji fit
in this series.
Yeah, in the series, they all wear like that same kind of outfit.
Before we were recording, I mentioned that Maria looks kind of like Ray. So
I think you're less on base here than
I was about to say.
I am.
It's literally the only thing is the haircut, and it like kinda doesn't even look like that anyway.
Yeah, I don't really think so either. But you know,
okay,
that's what we expect from Crows.
We got good smells in this room. You guys smell something good?
Yeah.
What's
like breakfast?
What's Papa Tim?
No, they were probably making like bacon. Who fuck knows?
It smells like biscuits.
Probably that too. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Biscuits and bacon.
Think about
and
that,
what?
People.
Beans? Oh,
you want some beans?
They could be making some of that.
Also, before we move on, I wanted to do the first Bryce chimes in of the episode real quick.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. was that?
Okay.
What was that?
What all right.
I had to
So-
get up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite bug and why?
What's my favorite bug?
Yeah.
Definitely, I think ants, because they're pretty cool and they're like really small, but also cool at the same time. And they're like you said, they're really strong proportionally to how big they are.
Mhm.
Like I've seen videos of them like picking up things like fucking over 5 times their size, and they're just like carrying it like it's nothing. Also, if you get a bunch of them together, they can do like some really cool stuff. Like they can make like an Ant-Man, kind of like
I am 1
from
million
Rick and
ants.
Morty.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need like 1,000,000 ants for that, and I think 1,000,000 ants could also do like a lot of other important things.
Like scream so loud
Yeah.
they rip people apart.
Yeah,
Yeah, honestly,
That's
I mean,
well known.
yeah, this is a theory we've kind of talked about a lot. Maybe not on this podcast, but we have all come to the scientific theory that if ants were loud,
yes, just like
Um,
ants themselves, like an individual ant was just loud.
humanity
Yeah.
would just cease.
Yeah. That would
Um,
be a big problem.
You
Can
know,
I-
who
Yeah.
wants to describe that real quick? The whole process behind that.
I mean, or just the idea is that like there's fucking like millions of ants per person. So if they were all so loud we could hear everything they were doing, people would either go insane, which is very likely. But if they were to walk up to you and all start screaming at you or making noises, it would be so loud because of how many millions of them there are that they would just rip your body to
Just
shreds.
like a sound
And
wave
just-
Yeah.
blast.
You
I mean,
know,
it would be pretty obvious that that
ants
would
can
happen.
actually tell their own reflection. Did you know that? That's so cool.
There's a lot of bugs that are like that. Yeah, bugs are weird.
That-
Bugs are
I-
weirdly smart.
I think that is like so interesting that they can look in there and be like.
There's also a lot of
"That's a
bugs that
mirror."
can tell time, from what I understand.
Do they use
Interesting.
Which
a
is-
manual clock or automatic?
They like
I have to imagine a manual. They're probably
shit.
smarter.
they like
than
look
automatic
out. They
clocks.
like look outside and they're like, oh, it's light outside. It's daytime.
I mean, considering
It's dark.
considering how
Better
Better
strong
stay
ants
inside my
are,
little hut.
they could probably have one guy in the colony be the manual clock.
That's true.
Dude.
They got so many of those hoes, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They could definitely have one dude be the clock guy.
bro, they got more. Holy shit!
No, I think my
They
favorite.
got more than just one dude being a clock.
Yeah,
holder.
they got to make sure
Yeah.
they got
Yeah.
several clock keepers so that you keep it like kind of consistent. You know, what I'm
several
saying?
clock
I think
keepers
that-
per one ant.
I think that my favorite bug is also a colony bug, and I like that.
Hey,
bee.
this wasn't your segment.
I want to talk about the bee.
Well, okay. There's no bees
All right,
in
you
this
got
show,
10
so that's
seconds to talk
unfortunate.
about why bees
I mean,
are
there's a
cool.
hornet.
Hornet's
bees,
close enough, I guess. Yeah.
Bees make honey. Bees dance to talk to each other.
There is a wasp too. The emerald
All
wasp.
right, that's
No
good
bees,
reasoning.
though.
Thank you.
Oh, there's a type
That-
of bee that kills
Bro.
hornets by buzzing really hard all over them. They
What
just
if bees-
smother
They
them.
what
just
if-
explode?
what
Dude.
if-
Yeah,
I know what
it's
you're
so
talking about.
cool.
What if bees were loud?
Dude, there's
Well,
a
they
lot-
don't talk. Is the thing.
I mean,
So
neither
if-
do ants.
Well, that's fair.
Ants kind of shuffle.
they
So
shuffle so hard.
That's like they've got so many like similarities.
They'd be
They're the colony
bees would be
bugs.
frightening because they could fly up to you too. Like a lot of ants don't just fly, but a lot of
I've
bees
had
fly.
2 bees go up my pants before.
I said a
when
lot
I
of
was young.
bees fly. There's not a bee that doesn't fly to my knowledge.
I was
but
about to say,
whatever.
I don't
Yeah.
like all of them flying.
Yeah. I learned that from Barry B. Benson.
What, Justin?
Did I ever tell you the story about how there was a bee flying around when I was a kid and I like grabbed it and like imprisoned it in my hands because I thought it was a butterfly and I like held it
How the
there?
fuck do you think it's a butterfly?
I was a kid. I was like,
I mean, I
5.
feel like when I
Okay,
was
whoa,
5,
whoa, whoa,
I
I
would
wanna know
that
what happened
something's
to-
not a
did you kill the
butterfly.
bee?
I don't remember, but I remember both my hands. It stung me because it was stinging my hands, and I wasn't letting go. I was like, "No, I don't let go."
Butterfly
Fucking
moment.
Yeah. And my
just a
hand
thing,
was
butterfly.
so unbelievably just swollen.
Oh my god. Well, when I was a kid, I was eating lunch
That's a
outside
huge
once,
error in judgment, Justin.
and I had like basketball shorts on, and 2 bees just flew right up my pants, like basically all the way to me.
Oh.
The thing is I did not. That was the most stone cold moment of my life. I did not react at all. I just kept eating my sandwich as if nothing was happening, and they just flew out.
Dude, were you just like, I'm gonna stand?
if you
still as
don't
possible?
move, they won't do anything.
Yeah, if you don't move that, if you don't clasp them in your hands, they won't do
If you
anything.
don't reveal to them that you are for sure a threat to their livelihood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that could have been very.
You know what's
bad.
funny is if you had let it go immediately, I think it would have just died.
Why?
Because after they get rid of their stinger, a lot of them die.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you probably would have only gotten stung once if you just let go.
Wow, you're saying
Because his dead
murdered
body was
that?
in your hands, you kept getting stung.
You murdered the bee. Damn,
Huh?
you murdered that bee.
Yeah.
I guess I did.
That's on you, Chief.
I never really thought much about it.
Yeah,
And the thing is like you would have
die.
like what would have happened to a butterfly?
Probably also.
I don't know
Considering,
why
dude, you would
in
fucking
my-
crushed that shit.
Yeah.
Just fucking dead.
Dude, I went on a vacation recently, and there were some butterflies getting so close to me. Like, I got one where I was taking a picture of this thing, and then it flew a little bit and just landed on my finger.
Oh, they do that shit.
I
in
was
some
like,
places, yeah.
that's so fucking.
Dude, in
You
Michigan,
could-
that shit happened all the time. Like, there's so many butterflies that they would fly up to people and just land on you, and I'm like, that's cool.
Some people don't think they're pretty, and I think that's weird.
I think that is weird. Yeah, they're pretty cool.
They're very pretty.
Yeah. Granted, that's supposed to spook people. Like, it's supposed to scare them or like scare like
Really?
predators and stuff. That's why they have the wings. It's supposed to be like look like a scary face. So people don't.
I can see that.
It's
for a
like
bug,
owls
yeah.
see that and don't kill them, but they don't. They just eat them still. So
Yeah.
that's cool. All right.
Would the sun be an automatic clock? I meant to ask
No.
that question earlier.
Okay.
Oh well, you know what? For the Earth, yes.
Well,
I-
for us,
I get
it's
what you
totally
mean.
fine.
But that's kind of cheating.
How's that
The sun
cheating?
doesn't have to think about it.
The Earth's
sun
got
just
it.
is.
The Earth's got it. Yeah. The thing is the sun is moving us, so we're an automatic planet.
Oh.
That's fair. That's true. So just like Mars. Mars is also
Yes.
an automatic planet. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Automatically manufactures killer roaches.
Real quick, I wanted to bring up after this mission, they determined they're just never going to go back to Mars. They've given up.
That's not true
that's-
though.
We'll get there. But they determined, yeah, that shit is not worth it. We're not going
20 years is a long time,
back. Yeah.
man.
So 20 more years passes, and we get the new characters I'll talk about here. The two main characters that the series bases around are Akari and Michelle. Michelle's from the US, Akari's from Japan. Okay.
Kari looks cool.
These two characters are so Michelle is the daughter of by the way, real quick roll call. Sheila's B, Kaneko C, Yaiko is D, Ava and Michelle are both F.
Yayako? Who is that?
Yaiko is the chick at the
I
bottom.
thought that was a dude.
Towards the bottom right, yeah. Damn, that's fucked. Okay.
Eva.
So real quick, we'll do a rundown on what they're supposed to be real fast. Just make this easier, but they aren't this quite yet. Okay, so Akari is a bagworm moth. I'll talk about another thing involving him in a second, but a bagworm moths, if their threads were human sized, would be like stronger than reinforced steel.
That's so cool.
They have very strong threads. Michelle is an interesting case because she is the daughter of Donatello Davis, who is the ant on the original Bugs. So she inherited his power and got a new one. So she actually has the specific type of ant he was called a Paraponera. It was an African ant that's the strongest of all ants. And then she also has another African ant that they nicknamed the Blast Ant. And what it would do is their bodies would just explode whenever they got stressed. She can control that and blow up just small parts of her body. So she can like punch you and then blow up part of her finger like a bomb.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Did she grow it back?
Is that a real ant?
Yes. There's a
That's
real ant
cool.
that blows
That's
up when they get stressed. They just explode.
Wow, that sucks,
the
dude.
fuck?
That actually sucks so much for those ants.
Oh no, he dropped the cookie.
Yeah, I
chain
figure it would be a
explosion.
chain thing. Like,
Yeah, like a
how
chain-
would you not be
How would you-
distressed?
How would you see another explosion and be like, oh, I'm not stressed?
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
like,
I ain't stressed.
just like
Unless that species of ant is usually stone cold AF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what would you have to do to get, like, imagine the pranks between the ants, dude.
Got you. Yeah.
it's just a prank, bro.
So, but yeah, so Michelle's from the US, Akari's from Japan. Marcos, Alex, and Sheila are childhood friends that all come from Mexico. Marcos is just a gang member who is like pretty carefree and has like no life aspirations.
A gang
Alex K.
star.
Stewart is a leading candidate to be a future MLB player. He is like a prodigious pitcher.
Why the fuck is he here?
We'll get to that. And Sheila is the daughter of a rich family whose mansion got busted into. I'll talk more about this later. They bust into her mansion and killed her parents, so she became an orphan. Along with her aunt and uncle, she moved to the U.S. after, so they don't see her for like a long time. Alex and Marcos, by the way, lived on her property because I think they were like the sons of like a maids or something, and then they became homeless as well. And their parents I think died off eventually, and then they were just like living in the streets doing whatever they want. A lot of this, by the way, is why Alex, even though he's such a good pitcher, is like not getting recruited. However, anyone who's seen him play is like, whoa.
I feel like
really good.
I mean, that makes sense, but I also feel like they love those rag to riches story. Like, I feel like a team that picks him up has a good marketing.
Yeah, they would definitely.
It's a good spin.
Yeah,
Just
also,
like I'm sure he's got a good curveball.
I don't know that Alex apparently lived in Mexico his whole life, but I don't think his parents are from there because his name is Alex Stewart. Pretty unlikely.
That what kind of girl that lives in Mexico's name is Sheila?
I mean, that's not that uncommon.
Really?
I don't think. But yeah, and Marcos is obviously like a pretty Mexican name. But Marcos is like probably one of my favorite characters in the show because he just actually harasses people, but like in a way that's like it's like I'm trying to think of like a good example of someone like this. It's kind of weird, but he is a huntsman spider. Marcos is. I want to bring something up. After this point, they're going to change the operation by inserting an organ called a mosaic organ, which allows them to expand the surgery past insects.
I was about to say that's not news.
Yeah. So a spider is stuff like a spider is okay to do now. So Sheila is actually a frog. We'll talk about how her power works later. Alex is a bird. I forget the exact bird. He's some kind of falcon. And then Marcos is called a huntsman spider. I want to bring up real quick that what a huntsman spider does is a huntsman spider is literally designed to search down and inject a venom in cockroaches that makes them immobile. And then after that, it just rips their body to pieces. So what they'll do in Japan, this is like a real thing. They'll take these types of spiders and they'll put them in their homes, and the spider in like a year will like clear out any roaches will never come back.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they will like own these things and like feed them roaches and stuff. So they'll like keep killing more.
Can I mention something? So this was originally aimed for children, and now it's about a bunch of people.
It was marketed towards them. The creators did not intend it to be marketed that way.
Well, now it's like, everyone's turning into different animals and shit. This reminds me of like one of the most fucked
thing for children ever.
Animorphs. Thing for children.
Animorphs, dude.
Is that that's quite the coincidence?
Have I told y'all ever about Tobias from Animorphs?
No.
There's a really good video on YouTube about the entire Animorphs timeline.
Oh wait, I feel like you may have told me about it.
Yeah, so there's a thing where they can turn into an animal forever if they don't transform back enough. And one of the characters, Tobias, has like a really shitty living situation, and he tries to sacrifice his life because he wants to die for the others, but he accidentally lives. And he's like so depressed about the fact that he lived and that he's stuck as a hawk for the rest of his life. And this happens in book two of 40 or something. He decides that he doesn't want to live anymore. So he tries to slam himself into the wall of a mall and breaks his neck, but lives.
See,
what happens after that?
I don't know exactly everything that happens with him specifically, but he's in the rest of the series. So
isn't this the kind of stuff that like
this shit's crazy, bro?
That's quite the coincidence, in my opinion.
Yeah. So basically, Marcos and Alex are trying to raise enough money to pay. So Alex is not on like any college team, so he has to pay a certain amount of a certain fund in order to get into the tryouts. You can't just walk up to the MLB tryouts, right? But Marcos and Alex are trying to earn money to do that, and they actually run into Sheila at the facility where they do the recruitment, and all three of them get accepted. By the way, one thing I'll bring up now, the surgery, whenever you get it, is a 36% survival rate. Specifically because of Akari and Michelle's genetics, theirs was way higher. It was in like the 70s. So Michelle, like I said, is the daughter of Donatello. They have tried over and over and over and over to replicate her situation where they inherited the organ and the powers from their parent. No one has ever done it except Michelle. Michelle's the only person who ever inherited the organ. Akari, as they'll find out later, also inherited it, but not really, because they artificially made him inherit it. But they don't know that yet. But we'll get into that later.
He looks like a fighting game character.
He kind of does, yeah.
He looks like that's his game intro screen.
I could see him fighting Terrence Bogard.
Yes.
That seems
he
somewhat
looks
likely.
like Terrence Bogard's enemy.
Yeah. Also, Keiji and Kaneko, we'll get to later. Don't worry about them yet. Actually, we'll get into all 4 of the others later. They don't really matter yet. Actually, I guess we got to talk about Ava now. Ava is from Germany. She was brought in by Adolf because she was giga poor, and Adolf. We'll talk about that later a little bit. Okay. All right, so the whole gimmick here is they got to go round up all these people. So Marcos, Alex, and Sheila, they just do their backstory thing about how they're from Mexico, poverty, all that stuff. And then they eventually come, and there you go. But then Akari, they meet. So Akari has this like childhood friend who he's trying to help raise money for her like deadly disease she has. And he's trying to help fund the cure, but he's in poverty himself. Like, he can't really do that. So he goes and fights in an underground arena. And he's like mad turbo giga strong. So he beats everyone because he has the insect in his body from birth. He starts just beating up everyone, and they're like, oh, dude, this kid can't keep taking all of our money. So what we're going to do is we're going to have him fight a living, breathing grizzly in the cage. And he still beats the grizzly. And they're like, well, Grim. So at this point,
I mean, if Khabib could do it.
That's true. Khabib did wrestle a bear.
Yeah.
But yeah, and was winning like pretty clearly, which is insane to think about.
Yeah, and he was
that person wrestled people. But yeah, whenever this happens, Shokichi and Michelle show up here, and by the way, Shokichi is now the commander-in-chief of the UNASA, which is crazy. But
yeah, that's when we get to a glow up.
Yeah, when we get to what happened with Hiruma, you're gonna be like, well, that's even crazier. But Shokichi and Michelle are like, hey, so we figure that there's this thing about you that would make you a great candidate for this surgery that we want you to do. Would you be willing to come with us and do it? And he's like, well, why in the world would I do that? And he's like, so I want to tell you something, Akari. We tried everything we could, but your childhood friend passed away about 2-3 days ago. And we just wanted to see you in this like cage match. So we didn't tell you anything, but we do want to tell you about the disease she had. So the disease she had is called the AE virus. It's called the alien epidemic virus or something like that. And they believe whenever that they came back from Mars, they brought the disease with them. But they're like, this disease is so much more advanced than any virus we've ever had on Earth that we don't think we can fix it without going to Mars and getting more samples. So as a result, we need you to, and other people like you who are like good candidates for the surgery to come and help us go there. And he's like, no, what the fuck? And they're like, look, yeah, and him and Michelle have like a whole conversation because Michelle's like he is. Michelle, by the way, I'm going to call them this a lot. Michelle, they refer to as the first because she's the first person to ever be born with the genes. And then they call Akari the second because he was the second one to be like that. They're the only 2 examples of it in the whole series. Eventually, they convince him to come. And he's pretty on board for it because he's like, in this particular case, they now have a terraformer the cockroaches that they like brought the dead body of and then used a specific power that I don't know if I even bring it up. They use one of the bug's powers to bring it back. So it's alive and they have it strapped in like a facility room where it can't get out so that they can show the people, yeah, this is why you're taking the surgery. And they have like combat simulations and stuff where they like rank their aptitude for fighting specifically because they have some people who they give powers to where it's like you're like a recon guy, so you're like an orca that can like sense what's going on around you, and then they have some people who were like a narwhal that use their power as like a divining rod kind of thing, things like that.
Dude, that's so cool.
Yeah, so they also have like a sniper group They have they have like a lot of shit going on here, but the real tragedy is that bro, so many of these people fucking die, dude. It is so grim. But they split the division into 6, and they split the group. The annex is 100 people. So 100 people are on the ship this time. And they split them into 6 divisions by nation. I'm going to have a whole lot of things to say about the fact they split them by nation. But what you need to know is that the commanders are higher ups who volunteered to come and are being paid already. So they're like people that aren't in poverty. This is just a mission they genuinely believe in. Whereas all the other people are people that they're low-key kind of exploiting because
they're just rejects.
They're just like social rejects. So
people that can be thrown away.
Yeah. So everyone, the commanders themselves though,
well, this is what they think.
The commanders are very important to their country. Everyone else doesn't really matter. Like Shokichi, like I said, he's like the commander in chief of NASA.
Oh, he's coming back?
Oh yeah, he's already been here. He's the one who came up to Akari and was like, dude, your friend's dead, but we know how we can stop the virus, so no, this doesn't happen.
Yeah, but he's going back to Mars?
Oh, he's going back. He's actually the commander of the entire operation.
Let's go. Oh, so he's like the new David.
He's like the new.
He's probably
Davis.
not going to die at least soon.
Yeah. So this is when they fly up, and it's like a month trip to Mars. The ship, by the way, that they're on is dead ass humongous. Oh, real quick. I want to bring up a scene that I thought was fucking really good. So there's a part where Sheila's about to get the surgery and she doesn't know she's going to live, right? And by the way, her, Marco, and Alex all live, obviously. But Alex and Marco don't care at all. They have like no worries about it. And she is like super depressed because she thinks there's just like a majority of the time she dies. And Shokichi comes over and he's like, yo, what's good? Are you doing okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm doing and for a reason I think will be funny later, there's a part where Adolf is on the phone and he's like talking to his like girl in German and he's like, I love you. And then they're like, so they peep around the corner and they're literally just harassing him about the fact that he loves his wife. And
Sheila and Shokichi.
Sheila and Shokichi are, yeah. Shokichi's kind of a jokester until he can't be anymore. But
also, who is Adolf?
Adolf, we'll get to. He's on a slide or 2 down. He's the German squad. Whoa, that was loud. But yeah.
Okay. Also,
he is Adolf. So Adolf is actually the commander of the German squad.
Also, shit. I wanted to say something.
God,
dude. Okay, so let it out. Do they not have the kind of technology to
send robots to Mars to fight them?
Robots is a good thing. I was gonna say.
Because the answer is no.
I was gonna say like
they just
missiles.
Like send some kind of like
they do have missiles.
Some kind of like gas.
The cockroaches don't die from that.
Yeah, you're right. Or like
explosions and shit like that don't really kill the cockroaches.
Bro,
what about lasers? They got that.
Well, they got bug powers that give you lasers, and they do kind of have lasers, but like
primitive.
It's not good enough. Yeah,
they could put like a death gas.
They think of that. I'll get to what they do with that later. But yeah,
okay.
That actually ends up being one of the better ideas they have.
Bro, my first idea was the best, one of the better.
Okay, that
ones.
makes sense.
So there's a whole thing here where, by the way, the groups are split into. So there is 2 groups of the Nippon American Alliance, which is the Japanese American Alliance, has 2 groups, which is called Squad 1 and 2. Then Squad 3 is Russia. Squad 4 is China. Squad 5 is Germany. And Squad 6 is the Roman Federation, which is most of Europe and all of Africa.
Dude, holy shit. Bao, one of the Chinese characters.
Oh, dude, that guy is kind of crazy.
His head is fucking massive.
It's big, bro.
Okay, sorry, continue.
Okay, but yeah. So they're up in space and they're like, okay, so we're chilling right now. Also, I put the leaders of all the countries on the slide as well, because that comes up later. But
wait, so how come you have, for leaders of the countries, you have China, Russia,
I didn't remember their names,
Petra and Luke. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so they're now in space. They're in the airspace of Mars, right? And they get an emergency alert. And they're like, what the heck would that be? Like, how is that possible? Then Akari and Marco are like, dude, you know what would be baller, dude? Let's go fucking peep in the shower because the showers have a peephole.
Okay.
I don't know why they put that there. I think it's just so he could make this scene. But they come up to this peephole and they're looking in and they see this girl looking right at them. And they're like, wow, that's really
cool.
That's really fucking not good. And then he's like, yeah, let me explain myself to you. Okay. I didn't do this because I wanted to. It was just like a hormonal thing. I'll back off. And then so she's looking right at him still. And he's like, dude, she's kind of weird. She's still just looking at me. And then as soon as he like leans really close, a roach punches a hole through the door, trying to kill him instantly. And he like reacts and backs up. And the roach was holding her eyes up to the door so that they would think she was actually there. And then that was that body I showed you earlier that was censored. And he like throws her aside. He runs over to a dude, grabs his head, rips his head off, and uses his spine to start slicing people's heads off.
Okay, and they aren't on Mars yet?
No,
they're on the ship.
They're already on the ship. So immediately the officers hear about this, and they're like, "Are you fucking?" So immediately the consensus among all 6 of them is one of us here betrayed us. There's no way they could be on the ship yet because they don't have radar. They have no way to know we'd be here if someone didn't tell them. So the immediate consensus among the officers is one of the 6 of us here is a lying, cheating bitch. And they're on the side of the roaches for some unknown reason. They do not know why yet, but they are. So the 6 of them have to split up to go kill all the roaches on the ship. And they're the ones who do that. And they tell everyone else to run to the medicine rooms and protect them. Though they get there and the roaches have already ransacked the rooms with all their medication. So all the medicine that changes them into different things, the roaches are in those rooms just destroying them.
Wait, so is it like they were there beforehand, or like it's implied that like they all said we need to go to the medicine room, so the person that's a traitor like set them up to go there?
Yeah, they'll talk about this. So a big part of it is, did they let them onto the ship, or were they on the ship when we left? Because that changes who would probably have done it. I'll talk about what they decided was later, but at this point in time, they're like, man, this is dark. Initiate Plan Delta. So Plan Delta is the idea that because they're all being attacked already, if they spread themselves a little thinner, the attack won't take as many people's lives as fast. Here's why this is a garbage plan. Okay, so I want you to tell me why you think it'd be a bad idea when you believe there's a traitor to split everyone into groups of 6 groups affiliated entirely by nation. Why might that be a bad idea, Bryce?
I mean, you just explained it.
Well, why is that a bad thing? I just said what they did. Why is that a terrible idea?
I mean, because the traitor like
is by himself with his own countrymen.
I was going to say that, and like they're going to be with the people that may or may not be on their side. Also, like if they're trying to survive, like I know being in a group is bad, but also if you're like split up, it's just going to be easier to just die as well.
Yes,
my thing is like
I think it's a weird plan.
What does the traitor get out of this? Like they're gonna die too.
A lot. They get a lot out of this.
No, dude. They got like the transmission from their antenna because they're like their form is a bug that's got some antenna, and they're like talking to the roaches like the whole time, saying like, tell them what to
they
do.
could just be a roach themselves.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if I mentioned this yet. There's like a ranking system among the people on the ship.
Bro,
it's gotta be.
Did I bring this up before? There's like always
happen.
some kind of ranking system among people that are powerful in some way.
Very important. It's the same with like you mentioned in the Tower God episode. Yeah.
So let's rank the
powerful people are literally called rankers.
Let's rank the importance of what things have we done that have these lists? Is it just this and Tower of God?
This Tower of God had one. Beelzebub had one.
Soul Eater had to have one, right?
Soul Eater didn't. No.
Wow, that's actually surprising.
Sonic X.
Okay, so of those 3, rank the necessity
of the ranking,
or also like the justification.
Definitely, it has to be Tower of God. It's probably not even close. Yeah.
Okay, what's the least?
The least has gotta fucking be Beelzebub. Yeah.
Okay.
There's really no reason to even have
Not Baby Beal.
Baby Bill, bro. So,
I mean, this doesn't seem like it would need it either, because
Yeah,
I
so-
feel like the point of this mission should be teamwork and using the powers.
they do split them up by like their powers a little bit. The thing that I think fucking is stupid, I'll talk about this now. First of all, the top 15 and the rankings get their own personalized weapons that allow them to use their powers like way more efficiently. I'm like, bro, the ship they're on is fucking humongous, man. Give everyone a weapon that does that.
So why don't they just give it to everyone?
What would the
There's
point be
nothing.
to not do? I know it's to make those characters specifically cooler, but come on, bro. That literally doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
And I will mention there are characters who snuck weapons on that make their weapons more powerful. But
Especially since
made-
their idea this time isn't we have to kill all of them.
they just need to
which-
get samples.
Yeah.
That's all they need, and then they're gonna leave. They need I shit you not, they need 200 samples and then they're out of there. That's all I need. And they don't even need to be alive, but live samples are better.
Like,
Yeah,
when
there's
you
no
say
reason
200
not to.
samples, like what classifies as a sample?
Just
like,
the full body of a roach. That's all
okay,
they need.
200 roaches.
200. Yeah.
Okay.
Bear in mind, there are millions of them on Mars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So that's all they got to do. And if they destroy the body too much, they can't bring it. That's also kind of important. When they get onto the planet, okay. I'll bring up Russia real quick. So Asimov is the leader of Russia. He's like a member. By the way, Asimov, Ivan, Elena are not Russian. Alex, Aaron, and Nina are. They're actually Russian. I believe Ivan is from like, I think he might be
I
Ukrainian.
was about to say Ukraine.
I think he might be Ukrainian. What's funny is he's actually part of a war struggle between Ukraine and Russia in this series. Very ironic. But Asimov was also in a war involving Ukraine and Russia. So that's very topical. But yeah, his sister, by the way, was taken by Russia in a war.
Who's sister? I'm
Elena
sorry.
and Ivan are brother and sister. And Elena was trying to find Ivan for a long time because she knew he was like a refugee, and then they eventually find him and bring him into the program and all that stuff. But yeah, Russia is an interesting group because this is basically their whole group. But the reason their group's so small is because they're the only group that has 0 non-combatant types. Every single person in their group is supposed to like fight. They're like designed for it. Other groups are not like that. Other groups have like weird niche powers and stuff, while theirs are all designed for combat. It's coincidental. It's not like they
Can
planned
I
that.
ask who is the praying mantis in this show?
Ming Ming was.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
She's
Ming Ming
gone.
I
is
was about to
dead.
say, Chris talked about his. I was definitely gonna bring that up earlier. That
Dude, no, I am creeped out by that insect, dude.
what scares you so much about it?
What scares me so much about it is I think of the eyes and I think about how the females eat the male's head, and I think about them crawling all over me with just like their heads and then their eyes all over me, and I get really, really freaked out like I am right now.
Yeah, I don't.
You want to have therapy? Like, are you okay?
They're
Yeah, are we doing
disgusting
this live? We're doing it
creatures.
now?
They're disgusting.
Bro, they're kind of
creatures.
cool, dude.
I think they're cool. Yeah. What other animal has weapons built into their body like that? Like they literally have scythe hands.
I just
dude.
isn't. There's
Didn't
like
help
a
Ming Ming.
there's like a Pokemon that's like a isn't like an ant or like a bug. It's got like a cannon
Scyther?
on its back. It's like
Yeah,
just
that's true.
Genesect.
Yeah, Genesect. There's also a Pokemon that's just a giant sword.
Yeah,
Really cool.
that's the ghost one, right? Ghost
Yeah.
Steel.
Okay.
You
Haunage.
teach me and I'll teach you.
Okay, that's copyright.
Pokemon.
You can't sing that, bro.
You
That's,
can't sing that. That's
copyrighted.
copyrighted.
Damn.
You are the tech guy.
Yeah, what the fuck is wrong
You
with
need to cut that out.
Yeah.
People aren't even gonna
Yeah,
know
you
what
just
you
gave
say.
yourself more work, bro.
All
right, so-
I'm not cutting shit out.
Whoa.
Okay. Whoa, dude, he's talking back.
That's Nintendo you're talking about. You really are gonna cut that out.
Yeah.
They're gonna copyright me. singing.
That's
Dude,
bro,
okay,
you
I have
vastly
been copyright
underestimate-
stricken by Nintendo several times.
You know what, Nintendo? This is personally to you.
Oh.
Come at me. I'm not scared of you, motherfuckers.
Ooh,
that
making
plan.
a bad
bad
statement,
plan.
a bad
We are
statement.
smarter than you. But you're the one editing it, so
All right. So China wiped out instantly. As soon as they land in China, there's a group of roaches that kill them. So China died.
Aw.
What's up?
I said, "Oh,
Oh, yeah, China's dead.
That's sad.
It really sucks too because China's like,
bro, not bow.
yeah. That's cool because they introduce all those characters and they just fucking die. Germany is like in a big pit, and the pit is surrounded. And the leader of the roaches, by the way, there's a leader, is around the pit too. And that's Adolf's group. But most of Adolf's group literally doesn't matter at all.
Can you give us Hong and G's size?
Oh yeah, Hong is a C, G is an F also.
What was Elena?
Elena is I believe a G.
No, Elena.
G.
Yeah.
What's G?
What's a G?
G bigger than F?
Yeah.
Man, I don't keep track of these things.
I mean, I feel like you should
Does
be
it
able
go
to tell.
back to A after that? Like music?
I doubt it.
How would you even like signify that? Yeah, she actually has got an A flat.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. We'll do that from now on.
I mean, people say double D's. That could just be D sharp.
Double D's nuts.
We need to move on. I think.
Yeah.
All right. So, Russia lands near a pyramid that was built there. I want to bring this up now. So Russia's job specifically there is to enter the pyramid on the planet. They were sent there on purpose, and search for something called the legacy of Rahab. So Rahab is this deity that in like the 23rd century they learned. They think this is like a god of some sort that put the pyramids on the moon. That happened later. It did not happen yet in our history, according to what they would say. On Mars and on Earth. And they're like, how the fuck is this happening? Doesn't make any sense. So there are literally pyramids being built like throughout the solar system, and they think it's a deity named Rahab doing it. And so they refer to any signal that he might exist as Rahab's legacy. And whenever that happens, whenever they see it, there's always this like thing somewhere in it that says we are the cosmos, and they don't know what the fuck that means, but it's always there.
That is a huge left field turn. That it's kind of weird. I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, you know how there's like people out there that say that humans like couldn't have built the pyramids because of like how advanced they would have had to be. Like, what if it was just roaches that built our pyramids?
Oh,
That's a baller plan.
Or like God, the
That is a
God
wonder.
that is in this series, like for a second made some really powerful roaches, and then like these guys, and then made them build the pyramids and then sent them to Mars. But then they did the whole roach thing where they sent the other roaches there, and then they like did their thing, but then the human roaches killed off the roaches that they sent, and they think that their roaches evolved, but they're actually just the roaches that built the pyramids on Earth.
And they got moved.
And then yeah,
That's fair. I think that's a good theory.
that's just one
and
of those.
the virus is actually like one of our viruses that went over to Mars, and it kind of like went, and now it's a gigavirus.
You know what's funny? I want to bring this up now because you're right. It was a virus they brought to
I
Mars,
knew
and
it.
then on Mars, it evolved rapidly, also just like the roaches. And then when they brought it back,
Didn't you say they were there
it
for
had
like
a
an
100%
There was only
mortality
two-
rate.
that
Did you
was
say they
only
were there for like an
20
hour?
Yeah.
There's something in the air, bro.
Well, I mean that's
The
normal,
moss
though.
they sent
that's a
there,
normal,
dude. The
like,
moss they
thing.
sent there that all the roaches were eating was like giga moss, definitely. It's like-
It was like souped up, bro.
yeah, it's like
Should
radioactive.
have more
moss.
steroids in their body than the average NFL player did. But yeah, one thing I think is funny about this next part is the Japanese Nippon alliance splits into two groups. I will talk about the Roman Federation for a minute. They don't really show up very often. There's like a part where Joe's underneath a big rock with all of them. He's like, okay, guys, don't panic, even though we're probably all going to die.
Who's
they're-
Joe?
Joe is the Roman Federation.
Got him, Joe Mama.
I mean, I'm answering his question, honestly.
No,
didn't say
I mean it
who.
was a real question.
Okay.
Because I saw that in our little slideshow that he gives us at the very end. You know, we got all these slides that are really compact with a bunch of characters, and the last slide is a character, one character, and then the other half of the slide just says Joe. And I'm
Yeah.
like, who the fuck is
His name
Joe?
is
Joe Mama.
They call him Joseph usually, but yeah, he goes by Joe with his friends, I guess. So there's a whole part here where Akari and Michelle are getting attacked by these two roaches. They look very different than the rest of them. And then they cut to the other group with Shokichi, Oh, by the way, Akari and Michelle are with Alex as well. And then the other group has Shokichi, Sheila, and Marco. And Sheila is getting attacked, but she manages to use a net gun to trap one of the roaches in it. And this is when they find out something that they didn't expect to happen happened. One of the roaches studied the bodies of all the bodies that were left on Mars and determined these motherfuckers got superpowers somehow. Why don't we just give us those too?
Oh no.
So he had been doing surgery, one of the roaches did, on the roaches to give them the other bugs' powers on top of their own. So they are just super roaches. And they
super
don't
roaches
know
became
this is a
giga
thing.
roaches.
So Sheila thinks this roach is just trapped in this bag, unable to do anything to her.
Sheila
and
better die.
he got the one with the gas lasers.
Oh god.
And he aims out of the bag and blows a hole straight through her chest.
Dude, did it look like a cartoon?
No.
Or you like see the hand like coming out of the bag and it's like,
No, just a light starts coming out from behind her, and then she looks back, and the roach is just like, and then she just gets a hole blown straight through her chest. And then there's a whole part where, so she like, the captain comes over, like Shokichi, and he's like holding her body, and he's like, holy shit, she's gonna die, Av. And she just starts trying to talk, but her throat box is fucked. So it literally just says in like her thing, she's just like, and then she just dies, and he's like, fuck, that's not good. So then he beats the shit out of the roach in the bag and kills it, which he wasn't supposed to do, but because of the laser, he's like, well, fuck, whatever. We'll just kill it. Make sure this doesn't happen again. And then Marco, obviously, who's known Sheila since he was a child, is like pretty fucking upset. So Marco, his power, by the way, when he was a gangster, he would like fight with a pipe. So he literally brought a pipe that, since he's a spider, he can run his threads through, and it lets him like separate the pipe into a bunch of pieces that are all connected by the thread. And it's actually mad cool. But
that does sound mad cool.
What's funny is, remember how I said Akari is a bagworm moth, so he can make like the string like made of steel? Here's a part where he gives the pipe to him to borrow for a little bit, and Akari's is so much more useful with that weapon, it's not even funny. And Marco gets like really sad about it. He's like, damn, that was supposed to be like my weapon, dude.
I love how like, you know, Shokichi has this like obvious main character power, and then our other main character guy is a bagworm moth.
Yeah, Akari, by the way, is definitely the main character of this part of the show for sure. He definitely feels that way. Akari and Michelle, by the way, so they start fighting. Akari fights the roach that stole the locust guy's power, and he uses him and Alex work together to beat it. Alex's power, by the way, okay, so he's a bird, like a falcon type thing, and birds have the strongest upper body, like muscles of any animal. So he can throw a baseball like across the planet. So he has these metal baseballs that have this thing attached to them where he can attach supplies when he throws the ball. So he can throw it to you, and then you can grab the supply off the ball and then use it. So that's like how his power is supposed to be used. So he just has these like fucking like heat seeking metal baseballs he throws. And that shit is actually kind of hype. It's pretty cool because Marco has the pipe. So there's scenes later where he'll throw a ball like across the planet, and Marco will get ready with the pipe and then like hit it, and then they'll like go through a roach and like blow their body to smithereens.
Why wouldn't he just throw it and kill the roaches?
I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
I know it's a style point thing, but
yeah,
holy shit, he could have just thrown it at the roach. They would have died for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Alex's thing. Alex's power, by the way, also looks kind of weird because he has like he's got like a feather mohawk. It's kind of weird. But then they beat the locust roach, and then they beat a roach who's like a sea roach. He can like go underwater and breathe down there. And Michelle gets like taken underwater by this thing.
Is there water on Mars?
Yeah, there's water.
Oh yeah, because they like made it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And so he's in this like lake with Michelle, and Michelle is like, dude, he's like strangling me. I'm gonna like asphyxiate underwater. So what she does is she uses her legs to literally wrap her legs around his legs and break them, like because she crushes them so hard with her legs that this actually caused several not so awesome fan pictures. But She crushes his like legs with hers, and then she's still gonna fall down. She's like, at least he can't get back up because he can't swim back up anymore. And then Akari's like, yeah, and uses a string to like pull her back up. Akari's string power is broken. I cannot stress how broken it is. But this is like the end of like this little thing. And then when they go to like, they start cutting everyone else now. So in Russia, Elena is like their like gun expert, and she's going to shoot like nets at the bugs. And one of the bugs has a power that they showed earlier in the series where he can like use like these like blasters out of his like ass to like fly forward, and he has that power too. So she fires the gun and he blasts past it and just rips her head off. And that's that picture I showed where he was like holding the head.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah, he just rips her head off instantly. And then Ivan's like, eh! So Ivan's power is cool because he's called a Jimson weed, which is this weed that's basically like super DMT.
What?
Yeah, so it's like
that's a power.
Yeah, so he has these little like thorns on each of his knuckles, and if he punches you with them, it injects the serum into your body, and you start losing your mind. The Roach envisions like a situation where they won, but the whole time, the commander Asimov has just got him in like a chokehold, and he like breaks his neck and he dies. Because he like paralyzes him instead of cutting his head off.
Christ.
Asimov is a king Tasmanian crab, which is known for having like one of the highest regenerative rates in the world in terms of organisms. And what they'll do, what happens to him multiple times is he'll like allow his body parts to get blown off because he'll just grow them back.
Bro, it's like Piccolo.
Yeah.
Do you think Piccolo's a crab?
I think that would explain a lot. He's a stretchy crab though.
Piccolo?
Wow.
Yeah.
Since when is Piccolo stretchy?
I mean, he can like shoot his arm out and like grab.
He did that like once, didn't he?
Yeah.
Wasn't that like
that's
the
kinda
original?
like-
Wasn't that like the original show too?
Yeah.
For me, a person who only knows this stuff from fighters.
Dude, in Fighters, it's one of his like main things.
That's
he does,
like
is
his
stretch
main
arms
thing.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That and then touch his forehead and go.
I feel like
laser.
every character's main thing, and that should just be like normal punching.
Yep.
That's what
I mean,
feel like they do.
that's the
Dragon
thing.
Ball thing to do.
That's the thing is
Just
that
punch.
they need differences in the characters.
A lot of them
they
are
saw
just-
once.
Bah, bah, bah.
They definitely have special moves for sure, though. Too.
Yeah, the special moves are like the like lasers and stuff they do, or a lot of how they fill the moveset because it's like, damn, bro.
Yeah.
We got a lot of punching and kicking.
There's like 5 characters who use the Kamehameha.
Yeah, and they're all in the game using the Kamehameha.
I mean, I feel like the most different character is like
There's also, like-
Gunman.
Huh?
Who?
Gunman, the one that goes.
Oh yeah, Majin Buu.
Majin Buu.
Majin Buu is very different than everybody else in the game. That's true. Okay, so I forgot where was going on. Oh yeah. So Asimov, Ivan, and the other people that are alive, basically everybody else on the Russian side, makes it through this part, and then they start exploring the pyramid. Now, let me get to the next part real quick because they're going to cut to Germany now. Oh, dude, I forgot about this. So there's a part where they get attacked by 2 roaches, and my boy KG, okay, who is a peacock mantis shrimp. Okay.
Oh, the one that's got the hyper fling.
Huh?
The one that has the hyper fling.
Like the really powerful shrimp.
Like the puncher shrimp?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. The hyper fling.
The hyper fling.
And also they have like incredibly good vision. So KG was a WBC boxing world champion, and then he lost his vision, so he had to retire. And they were like, "Hey, do you want like a thing that punches hard, or what do you want?" And he's like, "I just want something that can fucking see really well." And they're like, and then they found this organism, which is both.
Yeah.
Which is great news for him. And so he ends up becoming broken as fuck. He's ranked like 8th or something, and he's like straight busted.
Have they said at this moment like who all the ranking people are?
Yeah.
They said a lot of them.
Okay,
I'll get to them when it's relevant.
Okay.
They do also in this same scene say that the commander Shokichi is number 4.
Did they ever say he was number 1 yet?
They have not.
Or no, okay, can I get? Is number 1 on this whole thing?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
on there.
Okay.
All of like the top 10 are on there.
Okay,
So
I'm gonna guess. Oh my fucking Christ, dude! I'm gonna guess who number 1 is.
Okay.
It's either gonna be Joe or definitely Alex.
Okay.
Yeah, watch like 10 seconds later, no one's gonna be like, all right, and they get in the fight and Alex dies.
Yeah. So fun fact, they already said what Alex was. Marco is 9, Akari is 6, Michelle is 5, and Alex is 12.
Bro, have they said what Joe is?
No,
Akari is what?
6.
Joe is the
And
most
Michelle's
powerful.
5. Yeah, they also. Yeah. KG has a scene where he fights a big ripped armored roach. This was Maria's power. And it's like they can't hurt it because it has such thick armor, but KG literally punches so hard that it doesn't matter. And above him, you see those like strings in the air. Mm-hmm. That's the roach who took his boo-boo's power. And they're like, oh no, he must be the leader because he like that roach made this like big plan to assault them. And then Shokichi literally punches the fuck out of it like 4 times and kills it instantly. And they're like, oh my God. Yeah. That's crazy. Then a giant fire explosion happens and a ring of fire forms around them. And there's a roach walking up through them. And they're like, dude, I can kind of see him there, but not really because his body's reflective. So they can like barely see him. And then whenever they like try to attack him, there's another roach who's underground who comes up and like grabs your ankles and pulls you underground. And it's like, it's actually a pretty grim scene because a couple Americans die in that part. None of which are Jared, who I'll talk about because I really like Jared. Jared's on none of the slides, but he's the orca guy.
Jared, bro.
But yeah.
Jared.
This is the Germany group. We're going to talk about Germany now. So Germany is still surrounded. Ava, Adolf, and all these other useless ass characters are there. Rosa, by the way, is not on the... She is Adolf's wife. So they go into this whole part where Adolf is... He's number 2, by the way.
Wow, what an edgelord.
And Adolf, he wears his cloak like that because his body is burned to shit because he's an electric eel. And they gave him his powers when he was 6. And so they've been experimenting on him in Germany for years. And Jessica used him as the basis for the Mosaic organ operation, the one that gave everyone else their powers too, because she experimented on him. And she's the one who invented it. She experimented on him since he was a little boy. And then he met Rosa as part of his job. And she kind of became like his whole reason for wanting to live in the first place. And Jessica's like, he has a kid with Rosa. And Jessica's like, oh, good news. Bring him in. He's like, what? Why? She's like, bring the kid on in. We'll see if they have the organ. And he's like, I'm not really comfortable with that. I feel like you should just leave my child alone. And she's like, well, you don't have a choice or we'll get rid of you. You won't get paid anymore. So they bring him in. They do the research on him. And whenever they do it, she's like, yeah, so do you want like the bad news or the worst news? And he's like, I guess both. She's like, well, the bad news is he doesn't have the organ. And he's like, well, he's thinking that's a good thing. And he's like, and the worst news is he has none of your DNA at all. And she's like, what? And she's like, yeah, none of your DNA, literally none. So
Not
Rosa,
Jessica became Maury for a second.
Yeah, so Rosa,
you are not the father.
And Rosa's like, he never asked Rosa about it. This happens not that long before he leaves. And he never confronts her about it. He's like, I don't fucking care. I guess I'm still hitting that anyway, so whatever. But the real reason is he's like, this is like the only person who was ever like normal around him. So he's like, I don't want to like just
he
ruin
has
this.
precedent now that like if he does have his own child,
if it was his own, it would get probably tortured if it got the organs. So he doesn't really care, but it definitely like crushes him at first. And then there's a part later where after like all the things happen on the Mars, as soon as he leaves, Jessica's like, man, this is a great opportunity to do something I've been wanting to do for a while. So Rosa calls them and she's like, hey, I had a question. So like his salary usually comes in around this time. Like, what's going on? Like, I need to buy groceries and stuff. And she's like, who are you talking about? And she's like, oh, Adolf, my husband. She's like, yeah, we don't have an employee with that name. Did you want to ask about another employee? And she's like, what? And she's like, yeah, we don't have an employee with that name. Is there anything else I can help you with, ma'am? And she's like, yes. And then she hangs up on Rosa and she's like, fuck that bitch. What? So Jessica just leaves his child and wife without any money. So I don't know what happens to them, but that's how.
Is that her face in the picture right there?
That's actually like, the phone call she's in when that
she
happens.
definitely has that face of like,
oh no,
what are you talking about?
Also,
she's got a little bead of sweat.
I think the only scene that's better in the anime is the scene where they're explaining the backstory for Adolf with like his wife cheating on him, because there's parts where like he'll be like fighting a roach and a roach will like punch him in the fucking like face, and then it'll cut to her like putting on like lipstick and like getting dressed, and then it'll cut to him like electrocuting a roach. The thing he does, he has these like fucking like daggers that have little like dishes on them that absorb electricity. So he'll like chuck a bunch of them and then go like, ah! And then it'll kill all of them because their bodies will just like fucking like they'll get electrocuted and just burn and die. And it'll cut to him like doing that, and then it'll cut back to her getting her like booty grabbed by this dude who, by the way, the dude she's like cheating on him with and has been for seemingly years, looks very similar to him, which is kind of weird.
That is weird.
Yeah. Also, they go through like a kind of interesting stat about adultery in the show whenever that part happens, but we won't get into that.
What's the stat?
There's like an exact percentage of attractiveness difference between your husband and men that aren't your husband that happens after a certain amount of time being married. It would.
What do you mean? Like men get like more attractive, or
men who aren't married to you become a certain amount more attractive just because they're not married to you after you've been married for a certain amount of time. And that's true for the opposite is also true. Definitely, I'd imagine. But I mean, he doesn't have to talk about it. No clue, dude.
I mean, that is. We need more science on that one.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, Rosa gets fucked over and has no way to live anymore. I don't know what's gonna happen to her. They never talk about it. But Jessica talks about how she like just hates that chick so much. She's like, yeah, that chick's a bitch. But yeah, Adolf is on the planet, and Isabel, by the way, is some kind of mole. It's like a mole thing, and she gets fucking murdered. And she was like the only other combatant in Germany. And all those other people get trapped in nets by the roaches. That's what's going on there. And Ava is the only one not in one. And Ava is actually number 100. She's the weakest person on the entire thing. Oh,
my girl.
And she's getting grimmed on. And she's like, Adolf, bro, there's no way you're going to fucking kill all these roaches. And Adolf's like,
bet.
I fucking will, I promise. So
what is Ava?
Ava is, we'll get to that actually.
Okay.
Adolf uses his power way too many times, and his body is being burnt to a crisp, and he just keeps going and going. And then he dies. They're like, holy shit, that's bad. Because Adolf like exhausted himself to the point where he just dies. And they're like, holy fuck, we're all going to die. So the roaches are coming. They're going to kill them. And then they hear a loud beeping sound. And apparently they put a thing in Adolf's body that as soon as he passed out from overusing his electricity, his body would shoot electricity into his heart, and it had a machine that kickstarted it back up. And so he stands back up and starts just killing more of them. And they're like, dude, holy fuck, how?
This poor man.
They just keep giving him more of the medication. His medication, it's a powder he puts in the back of his hand that he snorts. And so he just keeps going and going. And eventually he's like, dude, I have a final idea. So they did another thing. They put a bomb in his heart that when his heart stopped and the resuscitator was already used, it would electrocute the bomb and blow it up, killing everyone. And so the boss of the roaches comes down to fight him, and he's like, perfect, bro. And then he uses a giant electric explosion, and then it kills him because he like blew up his own body, which sets off the thing in his heart that is a bomb that kills the leader of all the roaches.
Bro, I was going to say,
all
like,
the roaches.
Yeah, their leader is dead.
I think there's like an anime or manga a lot. There's like something that's happening where like the character like is getting shit on, or they're like basically dead, and then something happens where they like win or come back, or some power awakens. But that's definitely one of the cooler ones.
Yeah,
it's like
I agree.
It's like I'm gonna pass out, but like I got this thing in me that's gonna shock me back to life just so I can keep fighting, and then I'm gonna kill myself.
For me, like
shit.
What I think is so good about it is it's the first time I've heard an like anime manga character coming back to life that actually made sense.
Yeah.
At all.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Another thing that's I haven't mentioned yet is whenever you like lose a limb, whenever you put the medicine back on, usually it grows it back because of like the way that the mitosis of the cells works when you do that. So that's how a lot of times they're like willing to just get rid of their limbs if they have more medicine. But if they don't, they are like really like, oh fuck, I cannot. That cannot happen. Now, the thing that I wanted to get to after this is, so now they don't know that Germany's fucked yet. They have no idea. The Russia is now inside the pyramid. They're looking around. They're like, bro, isn't it weird? Like, doesn't this place seem like it doesn't really matter? Like nothing important is here. And they're like, why do you say that? He's like, there's not a single roach here. They're everywhere else. But if this place mattered to them, why wouldn't they be here? You know, like why would there not be even one of them guarding it?
True.
And they're like, so that's pretty weird. So then they come to the conclusion, there's nothing here that really matters. Then they see a moth. So earlier I mentioned that they were talking about how bugs are icky on the like bugs too. Well, the reason why was because Shokichi likes to eat moths. He thinks they're tasty. So he was eating moths on the ship, and that's why they started the conversation. And so their moths that were on the bugs too were left there. And they see this moth on the ground in the pyramid, and its little bug legs have been replaced with human fingers.
What?
And they're like, what the fuck is this?
What?
And so they're like, dude, that's fucking weird, man. And
but wouldn't they be dead?
The moths?
Does he eat live moths?
Yeah.
What?
Bro, what do you mean? You never done that?
High in protein. He
yeah,
says
just
that.
yeah, but why would you eat them live?
Why wouldn't you?
No, that's fair.
All right. Now, Russia comes to the conclusion based on something else that happens in the pyramid that they think that the leader might have died recently because the roaches like movements seem dysfunctional now, which is true. That did actually just happen. And Rome they cut to, and this is the part where they're under the rock, and he's like, okay, guys, we're going to be fine. Don't freak out. I'm Joe. We're good. We're good.
Joe.
And after this, they cut back to America and Japan. They've dealt with the like invisible roach and the ground roach, and they have reunited the two groups. Okay. So they're all in one group now. There's like this whole part where they have like a weird thing with Alex and Marco where like once every like 50 chapters, they set up like a romance thing for them that like barely ever matters. So,
I mean, when everyone's dying.
Yeah, they don't really you don't really got time to pursue that action. You know what I'm saying? And around this time after that,
I can understand why they would want to, because they're probably thinking, well, I'm going to die. Also,
there's something that happens around the scene where Shokichi's like, man, it sure is weird that Germany and China have said nothing, but they have reason to believe because Rome found China's dog tags and their bodies like burnt to a crisp. He's like, that's a little weird to me. I don't know if I buy that. And so he's like, we need to go back to where the ship is. And they're like, okay. And he's like, but first we need to like wait a day. We need to just chill out because we're all fucking exhausted. So they're like camping out for a day. The roaches actually leave them alone. I'll get to why I think they did this later. But Russia and the Nippon American Alliance are chilling for day 2. After day 1, though, they cut to the world leaders. The world leaders all walk into a room. Okay. The world leaders are the 5 on that page. And you remember Hiruma from the first page? The fat guy who survived with Shokichi? He has been upgraded to a little more than Shokichi has, to Japan's prime minister. And
okay,
almost all of his 13 siblings are like in like the public security of Japan. And they like are going around and they find a bar, and the bartender is the Honda guy who tried to fuck them over on the Bugs too. Because of this, he's trying to find Honda and hold him hostage to gain leverage over the other countries, because Honda was the person who did the surgery on Ikari as a baby that made Ikari the first ever artificially made person to like inherit the powers of another person.
Yeah.
Now, when I say as a baby, it was before he was fully born yet. But yeah. And he gave them the cells of somebody who was on the Bugs too. I won't say who yet, but he did do that. This whole part is crazy because the world leaders are all talking to each other and they seem so nonchalant about this. And then there's like Hiruma, who's like, dude, do you not understand how fucked that place is? I was there myself.
Are they there right now or not?
They're not on the planet, but they're on Earth.
Okay, they're
like in a room together.
location.
Yeah. And all of them are just talking and they're like vibing, honestly. Luke and Petra are weird because they seem like real homies. And then the China guy barely speaks. And then the Russian dude seems like really, really serious about everything. And then the American president is like, America.
Yeah.
Real president should.
Yeah. So they're basically like talking about what they're going to do about the fact that the ambush happened. And they're like kind of sussing each other out. They're like, dude, so how the fuck would this have happened if one of you guys didn't bring this shit on board? And he's like, why the fuck would I have done that? Like, what could we possibly gain from this? And they just start having
how would they get the roaches?
We'll get there.
They made them on Earth, and then the god made them and sent them there. And one of the ministers is God.
China obviously didn't die. They're all alive.
What? I think so
let's go ahead and get this. So they're back on the main ship. I don't remember why Shokichi knew they'd probably be there, but yeah, they're there. Okay. When they get back to the main ship, they cut to the ship.
He just respects them that much.
Yeah. So they cut to Liu, who's the commander of the Chinese group. By the way, Kai is not there yet. We'll get to Kai. He's not on the planet. Okay. So the main members of China are Liu, Bao Hong, Shi, Jet, and Dorji Berk. All of these people faked their ranking. They pretended they were weaker than they are. They're actually all much higher. Most of them would be in the top 15 if they did it actually.
Oh no, now the ranking doesn't matter.
Kind of, yeah. Specifically for these characters, particularly Jet and Dorji Berk are like kind of fucking broken. But
I really like that name, Dorji Berk.
Yeah, he's a Mongolian. Jet's from Thailand, and then Shi, Hong, and Bao are actually Chinese. Liu might be Chinese. I don't remember. I think he is. Liu is kind of like insane. He's a blue-ringed octopus. And he has like these like tentacles that come out of his back, and he can breathe out a really fucked poison called tetrodotoxin. And it's fucking crazy because it like goes into your body and it makes your body start like bubbling. It's not good, but he's much more powerful than he ranked because he ranked at 43. Now, here's my question. Why was he a commander? Don't ask. I don't know why they would do that when he's ranked 43 and then send this group who they believe is ranked like 43, 50, 99, and all these other numbers on their own together, which just makes the Delta plan seem even stupider, but whatever. Okay. Liu in this part is like screaming at them and he's like, all right, it's time. And they brought a bunch of extra equipment that they were hiding. I don't remember how they did this, but they brought this box that grows into this radio tower where they can like radar everything on the planet. They brought this big ass cannon that could fire across the planet. And then they brought a bunch of gas mask equipment. I'll get to why they did that later, but they now send a transmission to the Nippon American Alliance. And they're like, okay, so we think that y'all figured out because you're heading towards us that we're alive. Here's the deal. If you don't give us Akari and Michelle alive, we're going to fucking kill every one of you. And they're like, no, you won't. And they're literally on the ship with us. Why would you do that? And he's like, touche. Good idea. So
yeah, I was about to say, like, do they think that
that's not even a threat? I think it's really,
yeah, it's so funny, weird. Like, they're not held captive.
Yeah.
They're coming there voluntarily right now.
Yeah, so that is a weird threat. And then he's like, all right, fair. Come over and see what happens. So they come over and Komachi actually goes by himself first. They like wait and leave Akari and Michelle far away so that they don't like try to kidnap them immediately and like hold them hostage or whatever. The thing is that they get into the area and they send the bird girl Kaneko over and she flies in, right? And her leg gets sliced off and they're like, what the fuck happened? They built a invisible barrier around the area that you can't enter without getting injured. But then when Komachi gets there, they let him through. and they're like, what the fuck? And so Komachi starts trying to fight all these people, and he's getting actually dunk slammed. And he's like, what the fuck is happening? And this is when he realizes that their ranks were faked. The issue is that he can't beat them, and he's about to die. And they're like, how are we going to like save this dude? So at the same time, they are firing weapons at a bunch of the other characters, and they can't really seem to figure out how they're going to stop it. And
real quick, who is Komachi?
Komachi is the main guy from Bugs 2.
You mean Shokichi?
Oh, Shokichi, yeah. Was I saying the other one until now?
You said Komachi the whole time.
Oh, I was saying Komachi the whole time? Oh, yeah, it's Shokichi. Same person. Whoops.
Yeah, Shokichi's getting.
I should have put the name I was going to call him, but I guess I didn't do it.
Komachi, is that his last name or something?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
okay.
I guess Shokichi would probably be his last name, and Komachi would be his like first name. But yeah, it's the name they say second.
Ooh, what's it gonna do? What's this water bottle gonna do? It opened. Holy shit! Wait.
Kind of crazy.
Get that ASMR glug in.
Oh yeah.
I want to hear that.
I'm gonna make sure it's like
Get real
kind
close.
of coming out a little bit like.
I have that same shirt that you're wearing. I bet a roach can't do that.
Probably not.
I can do a good vlog.
Well, we don't need to hear it. So
I'm kind of wet now.
That was some.
I drop water on myself.
I thought you were saying your pussy's wet.
Yeah,
bruh. Okay, so they're going, and they're about to like. Komachi is about to dead ass die, and they pull up on him.
wait, you mean?
Shokichi. Do we need to swap?
Shock itch.
I mean, you've been saying one the whole time, then you just started saying Komachi.
Yeah.
Oh, did I switch to Komachi midway
Yeah.
through?
Yes, just in this
You've been
part.
saying-
Just in
okay,
this
Shokichi.
Chinese.
Shokichi is what we'll call him. I thought I had been saying the other one. That's my bad. Okay. Shokichi pulls on up. And he's about to try to run away because he's getting his ass beat. And then the Russia pulls up, and they're like, "All right, let's go." Now, there's a part where one of the Russian guys, Aaron, okay, he's Nina's husband, that ass. He goes to like fight them, and when he pulls up, he like is about to attack them, and this guy Jet sets off the guns and blows his entire torso off. And they're like, eh! And then Nina gets really upset because that's her husband, that ass. I don't know why they both came. It's weird, but whatever. And Nina like starts freaking out, and Ivan's like, holy shit, they killed him instantly. And then Asimov gets so mad that he turns into crab mode and picks up the thing and slams it on top of two Chinese dudes and crushes them alive.
Holy shit.
Because the gun is like way bigger than a person. So he just like crushes two people with it. And then he's like, yo, come fuck. Shokichi, you and the other Americans take Ivan with you and run. I'm going to fight China alone. And they're trying to like poison this dude and like punch him and shit. And so like she has a power where she can like turn invisible. Jet can like, I don't really know what she is. I don't think they ever like make that super clear. Dorothy Barrick's like a badger who like punches giga hard.
Dorothy Barrick the Badger.
Yeah.
Nice.
Jet is a pistol shrimp, so he can like shoot shockwaves out of his hands. And then Hong we'll get to in a second, and Bao's just a big strong guy. We'll get to his power too. But they're just like, they just can't hurt him because he's so thick.
He's a big, strong guy.
He's a big crab.
And so they're like trying to stop this dude for so long. And the other Russians are like, they eventually get to the point where they immobilized him with poison, but they just can't kill him. And something happens because a Terra Formar flies down and rips off the head of one of the Chinese people that isn't the important ones. And they're like, oh shit. And then a roach army just pulls up on all of them. And Asimov is like, holy shit, this is perfect. He takes out to just run away. And then one of the Russians, a guy named Alexander Asimov, who is his son-in-law, stays behind, and he doesn't know that. And he goes into the ship after China, who runs to hide in the ship. And they're like, why the fuck would China like just run into the ship? The bugs are just going to break in. So they put up the barrier, right? And there's already a bunch of roaches in the barrier. He goes into the top like up top of the barrier. And he brings Hong with him to the top. And Hong is the only one that they ever tried this with. And China did it like and faked her surgery being a different organism, but she's actually a straight up a bacteria, like an extremely deadly disease. And so when she releases her power, it's like a many times faster infection. It's like if COVID infected and killed you in 10 minutes. So they put up the barrier and then fill the barrier with her bacteria. And then
that's why they
put on the gas masks. And so they're just walking around the area and all the roaches just stop coming in. There's one roach though, the one that was like flying in and like ripping body parts off. He's a dragonfly and he is still in the area, but they're like locked out from him. And he's not like that strong. He's just really fast. So he's like sitting there like waiting and he like exits like the ship and is like communicating with these little roach kids. There's like kid roaches now. And he's like basically like communicating with them to go get somebody and have them come back. And then there's like a swarm of roaches surrounding the barrier now, like flying around it because they have wings now. And they're just like waiting for the barrier to drop at any time. And then they're going to go. Then they cut to Joe for a second. And Joe is surrounded by a ginormous pile of dead roach bodies. And he's like, woo, that was a nice workout.
Number one.
He's number one.
Number one.
Also, this is also scene where they reveal
number one.
everyone else in this group is dead. The entire Roman Federation has died except Joe.
You mean the guys went to the Rock and he's like, don't worry,
Don't worry, we got this. We're going to get this.
Because he knows how powerful he is.
Because he knows his name is Joe.
That's true.
The thing is he was Joseph when he went under the rock. And when he came out, the only one alive, he was Joe.
That's true. Now, after this whole part with them, Alexander is found in the ship and he has like this little fucking knife. That's what he wanted. He's ranked 14th and he wanted a tiny, useless knife. That was his superpower that they wasted time making. And he goes into the ship and he's like, I'm going to kill at least one of you Chinese fucks. Now, I don't care about him at all. He gets just killed by them. But what I do like is his backstory is mad funny. So he sees Asimov's daughter, right? And he's like, holy fuck, she looks so rich. And I love guns and I love money.
Yeah.
If she's a rich Russian girl, she must have a lot of guns and a lot of money.
Makes sense to me.
So what he does is he walks over to her and he says, I want to marry you. And she's like, no, get away from me.
What? And
so
Are you kidding me? Really?
So what he does is he follows her around for months and months and months and is like, ask her every day, please, please, please marry me. And she's like, you know what? I'll let you go on one date with me if you leave me alone. And she loves him. She's just like, this guy's awesome. So she goes to her dad and she says, I'd like you to meet this guy. Here's how I met him. She prefaces all of that. And he's like, what the fuck? And then knocks the dude out and kicks him off his property. He's like, that's creepy. That's creepy as hell, bro.
That's very weird.
That's very weird. Yeah. And then he keeps coming back and he's like, no, get off my property. So he keeps just KOing the fuck out of him.
At this point, he should have realized these guys don't have guns. I'm not dead.
Well, I mean, you don't get just kill someone.
Yeah, but he is trespassing over and over again, maybe getting a little too close.
Yeah, But
I feel like they would have a lot of guns.
So now the daughter keeps meeting him outside of the thing with her mom. So the mom, the daughter, and the Alexander are like, keep meeting off the property. And she's like, you need to become a true Russian role model. You got to shave your head. You got to wear sunglasses. We'll fake a scar on your body. We'll get you suited up. We'll get you like a suit. And he's like, okay, I feel you on this. So they start doing it and he looks like a model Russian citizen and he still keeps getting his ass beat by her dad. And he's like, I don't want anything to do with your ass to have anything to do with my daughter. And he's like, fuck. So he gets her pregnant outside of the house. And then whenever he finds out she's pregnant with this kid, Asimov's like, oh, that's great news. I'm going to have a grandkid. And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, no, I mean, I can't do anything about it now. Fuck it.
What?
and then he like walks over to like his pregnant daughter. He's like, dude, I'm so excited to have a grandkid. Yes. Then he finds out that she got the virus. and the kid and her are both probably going to die. And that's why him and Alexander were like so adamant to come on the mission. Also, in general, the Russian people just really wanted to go. There wasn't as many people in debt at all, really. But yeah.
Okay. We gotta talk. We gotta unpack this.
Yeah.
Right. So this author like has some like opinions on relationships. Brought stats into this, right?
Wait till we get to Joe. You're not gonna believe this.
The number one fellow.
So I don't know. Is this some kind of like Russian stereotype I don't know about?
I don't know.
Like that's some old school shit. But the thing is like, I feel like the old school trope is that you get a woman pregnant and then it's like the greatest thing, but when you're dead set that guy's a creep, which is perfectly normal
and
for
true.
that, and
it's
true,
literally true,
and true, and also
but he's a cool guy.
No, he isn't.
What do you mean?
He's using her for guns?
Bro, what do you mean? She wanted to date with him and he was a cool guy.
I mean, what's funny is that she's genuinely like maybe the hottest character in the series, and he just like doesn't care about that. He just wanted the guns and money at first.
Yeah.
And now he's like, wow, she is hot too. That's cool.
See, that's weird. That's weird. And then they just have sex right off the property.
Well, you say that like he was like outside the gate.
Well, of course it was.
They're fucking the bushes.
They did it so the dad could watch, because I'm sure they have security cameras.
Oh.
Yeah.
And and this is why he's probably happy, is because he knows that it's legitimate. It's not like Adolf.
That's legitimate sex. I know for sure that they had sex.
They saw it. He says, we don't have to call Maury like Adolf did. We got this.
Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, so Alexander's kid and his wife are in threat of dying. By the way, she is the largest breast in the series, Asimov's daughter.
Okay, what's a new letter for me to learn?
Well, I guess given your logic, she'd be A flat.
Oh, wow.
Got him.
Well, that's what we established earlier.
Yeah,
So I mean, she's
A-flat.
G A flat.
A flat.
Yeah.
Sounds not like that.
Yeah. Okay. So now that's his backstory. I just want to mention that because I thought that was fucking weird.
That is fucking
it's a weird backstory. But yeah.
Weird.
Okay. So they fight two more roaches. One roach, the one that Michelle fights, is the one who stole her dad's power. So it's basically the same power against each other, but hers is just better because she's also.
I like how you started writing Komachi now too. Like
damn, I did.
Your mind.
My mind swaps at this part just every time.
That's weird.
Yeah. Then holy shit. Akari is fighting this roach that spits acid and has this like little like staff that's made of wood, and he's like he's trying to defend himself. But yeah, they beat them. Akari has like a sword that he has that has like a spot to put thread in, but he also has like the ability to like use his antenna to make it like vibrate. It's pretty cool, but he just knows how to use a katana. I think that's a little weird, but they vaguely try to explain that. His foster dad was like a samurai or something like that. And then whenever
it's 2,557.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. So they're all like, they're all just chilling, and then they're like, all of our bones are broken, and Bao pulls up with a net gun and net guns them, and just dips, and they're like, oh shit, that's bad.
Not my guy Bao. That's my favorite looking one.
What the fuck are we gonna do? And then this is when you hear from the Chinese people that the Chinese have a ship incoming with reinforcements. I don't know how they got that off Earth without anyone noticing. Don't even worry about it.
I mean, they kind of like reinforced that with the fact that, like you said, all the world leaders are kind of just like, yeah, I'm chill.
So they're about to get kidnapped, and then
I saw a sneak peek of this next slide. Let's
go.
Ranking 1. I see that.
Dude, okay. So let me read the slide.
The pinnacle of humanity is Joseph G. Newton.
So let me just read this. Don't read it ahead of me, okay? Joe is described as the greatest warrior of mankind. He is resistant to all illness. He has freedom from most sprains and ailments. They describe this. He would beat anyone in any field, no matter what it is, so long as it is a mechanical task. This includes a lot of IQ stuff too, but he's technically less smart than a couple people on Earth. He would dunk on LeBron every possession. He could get a hole-in-one in golf every single time. He could knock out Mike Tyson in less than a second. And his control of his body is called more graceful than any in the world can comprehend. He is the best dancer on the planet by far. He could outrun Usain Bolt. He can sprint the full duration of a 24K marathon. He can throw a spear so hard it would go all the way through a mammoth from one end to the other. I don't know how they tested that stat, but they say that.
If they can put these genes in a human, they can make a mammoth.
So then they say let me find this. He could wield any tool at a level that is completely beyond the best ever in their field with no practice at all. He is the intellect and learning ability of someone with the IQ of 196 and the ability to receive energy storage from digesting food in seconds. So when he eats, his body instantly digests and gives him the energy. So eating is like way more beneficial to him than most people because there's not like a lag period. He has the highest regenerative qualities of any human ever. And then they say this. He is Joseph G. Newton, the #1 warrior in the history of Earth, humanity's greatest asset in a battle of any kind. He is Joe. His ancestors said at the time of his birth, around 20 years ago, it took 600 years to finally produce a thoroughbred made from thoroughbreds. Evolution is an art form, and we have completed our masterpiece. The creature second only to God has been complete. The apex of mankind is Joseph G. Newton.
Oh, man.
And I fucking love this guy.
I love eugenics.
Yeah. Basically they had like people selectively breed for 600 years until it came back to Joseph, and he has legitimately the perfect genetics. He did not even get the surgery, and he's ranked the #1.
Why didn't he get the surgery though? Wouldn't he just be better?
I don't know, but he didn't. I think the Newton family was afraid it would compromise his genetics.
Okay.
I mean, he's already perfect.
Yeah, I mean, he is way more broken than everyone else by a lot. And he's literally just like basically the perfect version of humanity.
All right.
He's baller.
He is Joe.
It's
Let's
Joe.
go,
dude.
Joe.
Let's go, Joe. Yeah.
So he beats the living fuck out of Bao and kills him. And then he walks over to Michelle. So there's a thing that Joe's had going on the whole series where he crushes on like every girl he sees, but none of them like him because he's a little weird. And then he proposes to Michelle as soon as he saves her. And everyone else on the little like evac ship is like, this is odd.
So this
I
is
don't
like
really know what's
this is
happening
like
here.
another like Tower of God thing where he's like Mazzino.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's actually
it's like
pretty similar to
a-
that. So let me tell you about Joe's backstory.
Oh man.
As a kid, Joe found out that his mom was a prostitute from Albania that had perfect female genetics. They describe what that is. Don't worry about it. She is literally perfect genetics. That's where his dad found her. And that's why he went there and fucked her. And he looks like none of his siblings at all. His dad is like dark skin instead of all his other siblings, but then he is just pristine, white, blonde hair, blue eye skin. And he's blonde hair, blue eye skin, weird wording, but
He's got the skin.
so he looks totally
Blue-eye
different than his
skin.
siblings, and his dad's like, no, you don't eat with them, you eat with me. You are the pinnacle of our race, son. And he's like, really? And he's like, yeah. He's like, did you like love mom at all? And he's like, sure, she was hot. And he's like, I wonder what it's like when two species mate without the intent of like breeding a perfect person. He's like, what if I know I can test what that's like. I'll see if it's possible. So here's what he does. He moves to a town on his own, goes to middle school with these people, becomes best friends with them. One's a delinquent, one's a really hot girl who is dating the delinquent, and then there's him. Okay. So then he sets up a situation where he pays everyone in the town for years to simulate the exact environment of a middle school that he would want to happen to test their relationship to the fullest. Then,
even the two people,
not them. They're the only two he's not paying. And then he sets up a situation where one of the teachers rapes her. And to see what the guy would do, and he defends her and beats the shit out of the teacher. He's sent to jail, and after a year, she's ready to move on because he's in jail, and then decides to get in a relationship with Joseph. And as soon as they find out she's pregnant, he's like, "Hey, didn't you love that guy?" And she's like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "I thought you really loved him. You failed him. You failed me. I paid everyone, including the guy that raped you, to rape you. You bitch. You betrayed my friend. Fuck you." And then he leaves her on that and disappears from her life forever.
Oh my God.
Okay, I feel really weird inside right now. I don't know if like Nolan looks at me a lot.
He set that
during
up
this.
for years.
Nolan looks at me, I feel like the most.
You're just at the angle I'm
at the angle. And I don't know if you
He's
noticed
the
that
angle guy.
I'm the angle man, right? So I don't know if you noticed that I actually started going on an angle, like where I was kind of like leaning back. I was just like, "Ooh, these."
You feel like you're
birds
being
are
like attacked a
penetrating
little
me.
bit.
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
I think we should take our applause away.
Okay. Retroactively, let's applaud, and you can like maybe reverse it.
I think. Well, yeah, we can.
You
we
can
can
reverse the audio.
reverse it.
Yeah.
But Joe.
Let's like clap right now, and you can reverse the audio.
until we take the applause
So
back.
we are taking it back.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay. Starting.
Ready? Go.
And I'm
Right.
gonna just
Okay.
reverse that whole thing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it
See,
just,
the
like-
reason I thought of that is because I was thinking about Ace Ventura, and because I was thinking about Ace Ventura because I was thinking about the Truman Show.
What?
The Truman Show, that sounded like a whole Truman Show like idea.
But he set it up like in a
But
real town.
he set it up, and he was there. He was
Yeah.
he was a main character in
it.
which is like extra creepy.
Yeah. So now KG and a bunch of the other members, they have like a hacker group of people that were on the ship. And he's like, we need you to get onto the ship, the original ship where China is. We need to break in. You have to go ahead and get onto the computer and send a distress signal to Earth so that they know that there's a traitor, right? They get onto the ship, and then the Dragonfly terraformer flies right at them because he was in the barrier.
How did he not die from the illness?
Who?
The dragonfly?
I actually don't know. He just hasn't died yet. I genuinely thought about this and I was like, how the fuck is he alive? I don't think they explain why, but
Also, do these characters that are breaking in
so
have like
they have like a mask on that gives them like 10 minutes to get in and out. And if they don't, they'll probably die anyways, but some of them get to live because if they get out and then re-inject themselves, it would heal their cells. So they go into the ship, and KG runs to the Dragonfly guy, and the Dragonfly guy flies past him and just rips one of his arms off. And then they like have this barrier that's closing, and he has all the hackers run past the barrier. And KG is like, I'm gonna fight this Dragonfly, and the Dragonfly flies at him, and KG's like, dude, I got it. And he does like it's like a whole thing where he does like a counter punch kind of deal. And let me show you the panel for this because it looks fucking cool AF. So he punches him like that, and then he like bounces across the like entire hull of the ship. I was like, damn, that's kind of tight.
Okay, we're looking at ping pong moment. Just for the people who are listening, we're looking at a guy who got punched in the mouth and then became a ping pong ball.
Yeah, so the Dragonfly is finally dead. The Dragonfly actually hurt so many people before they killed it. It's actually a broken ass terraformer. Okay. Now, the other important thing about this scene is they get into it. They get into the room and they're fighting each other while KG is fighting Bao. Let's get to that. Bao didn't die because Bao's power is cloning. So there's like a whole thing where they like have like a thing. It's kind of like if you've seen Invincible, the blue guy, where they don't know which one is the original Bao, but they're like, they don't care really.
Yeah.
And so they're like all stanced up, like a couple Baos, Hong and Shi. And he's like, KG's one of those characters. He's like Sanji from One Piece. He's like, I don't want to hit women, so I'm not going to hurt you, but I will stop you from hurting me if like physically move you, and that's it.
Who is
KG?
Okay.
And so she's like, that's really cool, but I'm gonna blow your nuts up with my power. So she explodes his nuts, and he's like,
wait,
oh man.
Michelle does that?
Well, so what she does is she has this thing that she does where she like grabs his nuts and like crushes them.
Oh, she just grabs his nuts.
Yeah, it's like a thing that the Chinese group put into their like surgery where they can like do like shock waves,
They
like
can
blow up people's nuts.
Dude, nut grabs.
That's
Yeah.
how we
Also,
okay.
Liu, Jet, and Dorji Barrick all left, by the way. They left on like a ship to go chase Shokichi's group.
Dude, the Chinese really thought of every aspect of this. They were like, okay, let's give everyone powers to destroy their nuts.
They thought it pretty far ahead, bro. So the group who's in the room trying to like actually hack the thing gets discovered because they came in from like the top. And so the Chinese group goes in there, and then there's another roach that comes in and is going to attack them. And she tries to attack Hong. Now she is the person who was forced to raise Hong, and she gets like so pissed off that Hong is like under attack that her and Keiji like work together to fucking like choke the life out of this roach. And then she's like, then she immediately snaps back and is trying to kill Keiji, right? And then they're just like fighting, and the one of the girls, Amelia, the others have to dip because she had to take her armor off to fight them. So all the others are running away, and this girl named Amelia is just chilling there trying to like finish the sequence, and she does, but she's like dying, so she can like barely get her message through, but it's just enough that the Japanese guy, or Hiruma's like, I don't think I get it. So he goes back and he calls a ship to go there. And he has like okay. It's not that he calls one to go there. It's that he already did. He did as soon as he thought something might be wrong. And it's like a speed, like a much faster ship because it's not as big. So it won't take months. It'll take like a couple days. And a couple days have almost already passed. So his ship and another ship are all currently coming. Right? What the fuck did you do?
Yeah,
Just don't worry about it.
Okay.
No. I think the people at home want to know like how you got wronged.
It's gonna be a waste of time if I tell it.
You got wronged, Justin. We
Justin.
talked about this at the beginning. You need to speak your mind.
My water is gone.
And it was for a bit, so it was deserved.
Yeah, you gotta hold that, dog. But yeah,
You can go get some more.
all right, now
If you do get some more, can you get me some water, please?
I'm not the fucking intern.
Please?
Yeah, give me more
I'll
water.
be your best buddy forever.
Oh,
What if his parents are out there?
and whatever.
What?
what about it?
What matters? You're
I
wearing
don't know.
clothes. I mean, you're a normal person. Well, what?
Decide if you're going or not now, so we can hurry this along.
I think he's already decided.
Okay. All right. So the Chinese arrive in a battleship, and the people on board are Kai and Bao, but he's really fucking old. So they actually, whenever the original surgery was made, they gave Bao the surgery, and he's been making clones for fucking like 40 years.
This is like why I came back in.
Well,
All right.
That's valid.
You're not drinking any more water.
yeah.
Oh,
All right.
why? Where's my
I guess I'll
water?
just die of thirst.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh my god.
Justin.
How did that even happen?
This man slid off of this
Can
bed.
you fix this? It's
Dude.
not like quite angled.
Dude, my guy walked out of the room, saw Nolan's harmless yet very talkative dogs. They started talking to him in a very loud manner. So he came back in, tried to sit on the edge of this bed, kind of sideways to like prop himself up, and I guess didn't put himself on enough and literally slid off and hit the ground and like almost knocked over
A mic.
the mic that my guy Nolan is using. That's another tech guy moment.
Yeah, that's a tech guy moment, and it's also like a
It's not even the
it's-
first time he's like fallen down in one of them. And, like,
Yeah,
made a lot of
yeah.
noise. It's like the second time already.
This is just what happens at Vaughn Studios, you know?
Yeah.
Vaughn Studios.
Okay.
Vaughn Studios now?
Yeah.
That's what I've always been calling it.
Since when? I've never heard you say that.
I fucking never heard him say that either, buddy. I think he said it off the thing, but I don't know. Maybe
I haven't said it on the thing, but this is Vaughn Studios.
Okay.
Okay.
Vaughn Studios brought to you or bringing you podcast. Continue. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're all chilling there. So a bunch of people are fighting. It's Liu, Jet, Dorji Barrick are fighting Shokichi and Joseph. Because Joseph is with Shokichi now. And Liu keeps fighting them, and he sends Jet and Dorji Barrick to go after Akari. When this happens, the Chinese ship shows up and shoots a giant, like napalm-like explosion at them, and it seems like Shokichi, Joseph, and Liu all get fucking blown up. And then Akari is like, "Oh fuck, this is like so grim." And there's this part here where Liu is looking at Akari, and he's like, "Dude, he looks really similar to someone I know." And he looks at her and he thinks of, I think this is really funny because Kris brought this up, my girl Ming Ming, the praying mantis girl. And he's like, he looks just like her. And this is when he put Liu, yeah, because Liu knew her because she was from China. And
that's why.
Yeah. So he's like, dude, he looks exactly like her. Like he has all of her facial features and stuff. And then this is when they have like a flashback to when Honda did it. And he used Ming Ming's blood for the culture that made it so that he could like give Akari the powers right before he was born artificially. No. So you know what that means, Kris?
No.
His like inherent power, like Michelle has, is the praying mantis one. So he's fighting all these roaches, and then he gets the big praying mantis arms and starts swinging, bro. He's going hard. And then he's still about to die, and then a giant electric explosion happens, and he's like, whoa, Adolf's here. And it's not Adolf, it's Ava, completely naked, by the way. And she just has Adolf's power. And then they go into this, and then the Kai guy looks down from the ship, and he's like, oh, fuck, they lived. So Kai and China, one of their biggest things is they were really worried about not Adolf, but Ava, because Ava was a project that Jessica had been working on for a long time, where her power seemed really insignificant. But how it works is every time she dies, her cells will reform her, like essentially no matter what. And because of this, she and her body, since she was hugging Adolf when he died, they blew up together, and when her cells reformed, she got some of his cells in her body. So the electric power is like in like her blood now. So like she has some of the electric eel like genes in her body. So she can do like a minor version of what he was capable of now. It's not like anything like he was doing, but it's more minor version. And well, I don't know how the fuck it doesn't have the blood of some of the other people, but whatever. I don't really care. So her and Akari are now dipping, and then they get attacked by Jet and Dorji Barrick. Dorji Barrick is like a badger, like I mentioned. So he's fighting Ava, and Ava's power's not strong enough to stop him. So he's literally just pummeling her head into the ground on this like evac ship, and she's like bloodied as hell, bro. Bruh. And then Jet is stole Akari's katana because Bao stole it first, and he's using it to like, because he's like, there's like this whole thing where they refer to like his fighting style as like the all popular like stick and sword, and I'm like, what the fuck are they talking? What? Weird shit, bro. But the Jet just barely loses to Akari because Akari starts flinging strings at him that have little mantis sights on them. And it's pretty cool, bro. I like it, but
like fins?
Yeah, they're like little hooks on them.
Oh, that sounds so scary.
That'd be painful AF.
I mean, it killed him. Yeah,
it does. It does hurt Jet badly. Jet and Dorji Barrick don't actually die. They get like thrown off the ship and barely live somehow, I guess. Dorji Barrick, what they do to him, by the way. So Yaiko, her power is she's the worst smelling skunk on Earth. And what he does is he takes some of the juice that smells really bad, Akari does, puts it on his string, and flings the string directly into Dorji Barrick's nostril. Oh. And Dorji Barrick is is the badger with the best sense of smell on Earth. So whenever he does that, his it shows like a explanation of what it feels like when that happens, and it shows a video like picture of his head exploding, but he doesn't actually explode. He just passes out, obviously.
Bro, you can
and
just...
then they take him and they just like fling him off the ship because they're in like a hurry, and then a bunch more terraformers come and something happens from the ship up top where they shoot this like thing down, and Michelle goes to block it and it goes straight through one of her lungs. But it was like this like thing that was supposed to like wrap around them and stop them, but they like misshot it, and they also like destroyed the ships. The ship's like down, and it's around this time that they cut back to Joseph, Liu, and Shokichi, and they're all like alive, but their like body parts like blown off and shit. And so they start taking their medicine how did their medicine not get destroyed? The medicine, it's weird that I brought up the whole thing where they were destroying the medicine in that one closet, and they just seem to have an infinite amount of it anyways, but whatever.
Yeah.
Now the
wait, so Joe has his own type of medicine?
He doesn't have any.
Oh, so it did.
Joe just regenerates actually.
What?
I told you Joe is crazy, dude. He's Joe.
He is Joe.
He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Chris
now,
subconsciously wants to clap right now.
But yeah.
I don't want to clap right now. He's weird.
So then Bao, but like really, really old, comes down from the ship. And now that like all of them are injured, he grabs Michelle and Akari and brings them back onto the Chinese ship. And they're like, we got him. And then Michelle, it kind of is like, I don't even remember how she gets out, but she gets out just long enough to chuck Akari off. And Akari gets saved by Alex. But that's it. Like, she can't get off. And the Kai guy's like, you fucking bitch. So he starts like beating her up, and then he throws her into a room, and he's like, you know what? At least we got you. And she's like, wouldn't Akari be better because he's artificial so you could figure out how they did it? And he's like, kind of, but you're a woman. We're going to breed you until you die, bitch. And then he leaves the room. And I'm like, holy shit. He's like, we're going to make you have kids over and over and over until you get one that has the organ.
Yeah. Who said that?
The Kai guy. He's like, you're going to fucking regret that you just did that.
Which one is that?
That's one of the Chinese guys.
Okay.
He's the one who flew the warship in, along with Bao, but really, really old.
Oh, okay. That guy.
And so then they're like, okay, so perfect. Now we have Michelle. Let's just dip. And then a fucking evac ship slams into their ship, into their
Is that Japan?
No.
Oh.
It's Russia.
What?
But specifically, it's just Asimov, and Asimov comes into the ship. He's like, just starts like swinging on everyone. And his whole goal is to just get to Michelle and get her out. And Kai comes over and tries to fight him. And Asimov's number 3. I don't know if I brought that up, but he starts just beating the dog shit out of Kai. And he's like, all right, Michelle, let's go. And so they dip because Bao comes over and tries to kill Asimov. Also, there's this part where he punches a hole through Bao's chest, and Bao's like, oh, bet. And you see his chest, and all these little tiny Baos are like reconstructing his organs.
What? What?
I'm like, dude, that's kind of scary.
That is super scary.
Yeah.
Is it as scary as a praying mantis?
Definitely not.
Yeah, no, I would say it is because
It is.
because the praying mantis is like, you know, that's an irrational fear, and I ain't gonna see something like that in my life. But if I did see that, holy
That'd be
shit,
frightening. Yeah. So now the Kai guy's really, really pissed off, and he has this power where he can control roaches with spores. Right? It's I think he's literally the same spore from The Last of Us. Like the one they based it off of. That's what he is.
nice.
And he controls them, and he's having them just attack the officers like Akari, Michelle, and all them like nonstop in like waves, and they're barely surviving. And then he starts using the spore after they start killing most of the roaches that were there to try to take control of Joseph. And he succeeds. And so Joseph is like under his control now. And Joseph is just trying to kill all of them.
I'm surprised Joe would be susceptible to that.
Seriously.
We'll get there.
Oh,
Now-
no, he's just playing.
He's playing.
So
Joe's such a player.
Joe's such a player. That's why he couldn't
so
get a girl and instead watched a different relationship. And also is not able to get any woman.
well, he got the
even though-
girl after, dude.
True.
That was his bitch, bro. And then he's like,
And then-
I played you. I made you think I loved
He
you.
dropped the mic
Yeah, he did. He dipped on her. I
when
think
she was pregnant.
that particular backstory is really funny the way they do it too, because there's like no reason to expect it's going to go like that. Like I kind of prefaced he was doing that for y'all. It does not do that. Like when he tells her is when the audience finds out when you read it, and it's like, holy shit, this is fucked.
That's so interesting too, because it doesn't even help his original cause.
No, he just wanted to know if like she would still love him even if he's in jail, and she didn't. And he was like,
yeah, but like
fuck her.
his cause was like, does love exist for non-impregnation?
No, like just for reasons other than like selective breeding and stuff like that. Something like that. He's fucked in the head. He's like an insane person.
Yeah.
Joe's weird.
Yeah,
dude.
obviously.
And then, okay. So now they've gotten off, and there's this part where Joe gets taken over. And at the same time, the second ship arrives, which is the one that Hiruma sent from Japan. And a bunch of pods fall from the sky, and a voice starts speaking. They can only contain 3 people. Only send 3 people. And only one lands near the commanders, the officers. And they're all like, okay, Akari, Michelle, Ava, get on it. Because all the others are way older. And they're like, y'all are Akari and Michelle, obviously, get them out of here because they're the people with the genes. And then Ava, because she's so young, they're just like, go. Because Ava's like 18. Now, they send them all in there. And also one thing I'll mention, Joe is actually younger, but because he's taken over, they don't send him. That's like the only reason he doesn't go with them. Now,
he's younger than 18.
He's like no. He's younger than Michelle. Michelle's 24, and Joe and Akari are both 20. Joe is very young.
Damn,
I thought he was like 23. I think in that
in the picture. Did it say that? Okay, so he might be 23 then. Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
That's what it said.
Now I can't believe anything you said.
Damn. That's unfortunate.
Good thing this is a work of fiction. You can change it up, make it spicy.
Oh,
so now we're gonna be beginning.
Oh,
the Bryce
shit.
is right, bro.
What are you doing?
This is the one I.
This is gonna be quick, swift, because we've been taking a little bit of time here. Okay. One insect was sent to Mars to make it breathable for humans long term.
Roaches.
That's right. All right. What is the name of both operations that modified mankind's combatants?
Operation 1 and Operation 2.
Oh, you hate to see it. Not quite, man. Not quite.
Dude. Good try.
Joe wouldn't have gotten
that.
What 2 countries have formed the alliance most of the characters are a part of?
It's the United States and Japan.
Dustin was like way ahead of me on that. No,
I just guessed it was right.
Okay. It's almost like there's like a rhythm to how this works. Who are the commanders of each of the 6 squads on Mars?
Joe.
You got it then. You got it.
What was that right?
No.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Nolan
What do you
said it
mean?
was right.
No, what do you mean? What do you mean? No.
As the segment's called, the Bryce is right.
I mean, it is a question.
What is the name of the majority of the? Okay, I meant. What is the name of the? What is the name of the planet where the majority of the story takes place?
Mars.
Let's go.
Wait, dude,
I wouldn't have gotten that one.
Then you got 4 or 5. That's really
Dude,
impressive.
The last one says, "What is the name of the where the majority of the story takes place?"
You know what? Bryce, he got an 80 last time, and then this time he got another 80. You're on a fucking roll.
He may have fumbled a little on his midterm, but this semester final is about to be for
It's
rough.
about to be
He's heating up.
What do I get for taking dubs?
More of Justin's water.
You graduate.
You get his water bottle.
Oh
No,
yeah!
Woo! No, I like that shit back.
Dropped it, slammed that shit on the table.
I didn't even slam it on the table.
This next part we'll get through pretty quick. So all the people from Russia, North America, and Japan all see like several pods fall down, and there's enough for all of them. But they're like, we need to go now. So they're running away. And there's a part where another bug shows up that has a power kind of similar to KG's. It's not quite the same. And he's fighting that guy. Cool pictures. I'll show them real quick. But the gist of this is they start running away. And like a fuck ton of the characters just start dying. All the fodder just gets eliminated in this part. There's this one girl named Erica where they're like, where she has like this big scene where she's like, I can't wait to get out of here. And then the dude kicks one of the pods so hard that it deletes her corpse.
Classic.
Just like eliminates her body from existence. So yeah, this starts happening. KG beats this guy, and then another dude shows up who has like a big...
Dude, did he make his head turn into a twister?
Woo. Yeah, he like broke the fuck out of his neck.
Wow. The picture that's being shown, it is not a head. That is just a straight up spinning top.
You fucked him up, bro. But yeah, KG, by the way, has the most one-on-one fights in the series for some reason. He has like so many because he has another one after this against the Roach, who has like a giant armored leg. Yeah, he got a fucking spinoff.
Good.
Yeah, KG's cool.
Let's go.
No, it's like just about like his life as a boxer before he went on the mission and stuff.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
And then, like,
I don't know anything about it other than that, but I know it exists.
Well, maybe
Asimov's,
should do another
by the way,
episode.
Is about when he was in the military and like when he found Ivan and all that stuff.
We could do a watch party of it.
It was also drawn by a different dude.
A watch party of reading something.
Yeah.
We could do a read along.
Yeah, and then Justin, you're the one that's reading it.
Yeah,
me and
I think
Blake
Justin should
read
do
like a whole arc of One Piece in a living room together.
Well,
on
I
the
think
TV.
I think what we should do is have Justin do a dramatic reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of the spinoff.
Of the spinoff.
I can
Okay.
do that.
Just like that Terra Formar just got his head spun off.
Yep.
It'll be a supplemental episode.
But yeah, so of this group here, the people that make it out are from Russia. It is only Ivan, no one else. From the US, it's eventually it's Michelle and Akari get there, and then Marco, Kaneko, KG, the girl Amelia, and then like two other Americans.
Is Alex gone?
Alex makes it. Yeah. There's a part where they fake like Alex is gonna die actually, which I thought was funny because Brett brought that up. I also thought Alex was gonna die, but he didn't. So
the
most
DMT guy was the only one who lived
from Russia. Yeah, he's the only one who got on the escape ship. So now the other officers are fighting Joe, and there's a part where the guy's like, Kai's like, my power should be like wearing off, and Joseph is still fucking them up. Then they cut to Earth for a second. On Earth, there's a giant like Japanese coalition of men who are on this bridge waiting, and you're like, what the fuck are they doing here? Then a ship pulls up. It's like not a ship, like, what the hell do they call those military cars? I don't know what they're called.
Tanks?
Jeep?
Like Humvee?
A Humvee, yeah. Pulls up with a bunch of roaches in it, like on Earth. And they're like, wait, what the fuck? And their ship says in big letters on I keep saying ship. Their car says in big letters on the hood, we are the Cosmos. And there's a huge group of them, all of which have received the surgery, like on this bridge, like stanced up, ready to go. And the guy
of roaches
roaches. Yeah. And they're like, the Japan group was there to stop them because somehow they found out that the roaches had been on Earth for a while and had been like, so that like there's this one part where the roaches are inside of a NEET's house. And the NEET the mom doesn't like see her son at all, but it's actually two roaches living in there, like researching stuff on a computer.
So when did they stop?
Right.
When did they stop being instinctual?
Well, like
that kind of just like
they're still like that, but it's like not all it is. They're like able to like produce technology and shit now. But here the thing is, I'll get to how they got to Earth because it wasn't because they did it themselves.
That's too quick.
Then the third ship descends right when Joseph is fighting. Okay, so by the way, Asimov and Liu are just fighting off roaches that the fungi guy keeps sending at them, while Joe is fighting Shokichi. I was I'll show you what that fight looks like in a second because it's fucking crazy. But a third ship shows up. It's this giant black circle, and it starts like it sends out like an announcement that says "We are the cosmos," like out loud. And there's two people on board. One's a Japanese guy, and one's a Chinese woman. And their last names are both Newton. And this is when Joe is like, yeah, I mean, we're the ones who put the roaches on the ship. He also mentions that they're the Roman Federation, Luke and the Newton family had a plan the entire time to create an alliance with the roaches because they're the ones who progressed them so far in the first place. Remember when I said that their whole thing is like evolution is an art form? Like you could speed that up. They're the ones who made the virus so that sped up the virus's development so fast when it hit Earth so that they would go back to Mars so that they could set up all this other stuff so that they could get a specific thing that they wanted. And they also produced Joe, and they also wanted Joe to do something specific. They set up the situation where Germany was surrounded, right? So that Adolf would die, so that Ava's power would trigger, taking in Adolf's cells, get his power, and then Joe went to where she was after he killed his whole group, went to her, and then took her power and did the mosaic operation on his own body with her power. Which is why when he got it blown up, he regenerated so fast because he has her regeneration power now. So now
wait, when did she get? I thought she escaped.
She did. He walked up to her before she was recapacitated from the initial explosion where they thought she died, and using her body, used her flesh to do the operation on himself. So he did the surgery. He regenerates fast enough that he could do the surgery to himself without losing too much blood to die from it. And then whenever he had her power, no matter what happens to him now, he will always come back to life so that they can threaten everyone else in the world with no matter what you do, Joseph isn't going anywhere. We will always have your boy Joe.
All powerful Joe.
And so now Joe's fighting Shokichi. And also Joe, because he used her body, has Adolf's powers too. And they're like, oh, God, Grim. And he has a sword that's made of metal, too. And he's like already using Adolf's powers better than him because he's like flinging around metal with magnetism and shit. And they're like, dude, even Adolf couldn't do that. And he's like, I'm Joseph G. Newton. I can do anything.
Joe world leader.
That's true.
Yep.
Now,
this is creepy, scary.
So
Joe goes in.
He's fucking up all of them. And then he starts fighting Shokichi. Now, Shokichi starts taking so much of the drug that he's turning into this like fucking mutant monster. And this is what he does. So I'm going to describe this with the pictures here. At the end of the fight, so Akari, by the way, got an arm cut off when it was in Mantis form. So that's what he has there. So he starts punching the shit out of him. Then he grabs his big mutant arm and slams it through Joseph. Then Joseph stabs him in the chest by magnetizing the sword back through his chest. So Shokichi grabs Akari's Mantis arm off the ground and slices Joseph's body in half with it. Then while his head's in air, he grabs his like stinger and cuts his head off of his body and then swaps the Mantis arm to the other arm and then slices Joseph's head in half. And that's what is going on over there on the right with Joseph's body scattered all over the place. And Joseph is still screaming at him. He's like, fuck you, Shokichi. I'm about to get up in a minute and I'm going to beat your ass.
Yeah, I was about to say
Shokichi's like, oh no, dude.
He should have used his power to make his, doesn't matter. As long as he has cells, it just doesn't matter.
He'll just come back. So because he has Ava's power, he'll regenerate from this like every time. And they like know that too. And Shokichi's like talking to the other two and they're like, fuck, man. There's
Wouldn't he also have some of Shokichi's power too?
No.
Well, okay, so the only thing they can really realistically do is make it so Joe never leaves Mars.
Yes, which they fail at actually, because they try to stop the other two that come down, the Chinese guy and the Chinese woman and the Japanese guy, and they just can't because they're already so tired and they're Newtons also. So they're like incredibly powerful people. And so they just take Joe's body and China like comes down and talks to them and he's like, and they're like, dude, what the fuck? Like, We were like allied with you guys. What's happening? This is when you find out that Rome and China was actually working together the whole time.
Okay,
and apparently that Rome and Germany also made an alliance as soon as they found out Adolf died, because they're like, well, whatever side we're on, we want Joe on it, so we're going to be on your team.
Okay.
And so it literally the entire conflict off planet was revolving around Joe's presence, and then just no one even knew, because the reason China wanted to be on their side was because of Joe, and then it was also true for Germany. They're like, if we're going to have to be with someone, we want to be with whoever's got Joe. Because Joseph G. Newton is a broken ass character.
He's busted.
Okay. Okay. Now then the author went through a back pain crisis. Now, as I've written here, at least he releases a volume every year. It's a lot better than Tagashi's hit rate. But the thing that sucks about it is because of this, almost none of it gets translated because it's released so inconsistently. So this isn't when the translation stopped, but I would explain like 20 chapters when they're back on Earth. It wouldn't really make any sense because it doesn't make sense to us yet. And then you would just be like, okay, so what happens next? And I'd be like, well, I feel like it's a worse stopping point. So we're just going to stop here. And if they ever finish it, I'll do the rest of it. So.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So that's basically the gist of the Mars saga of Terra Formars, and the rest of it takes place back on Earth now.
Joe is all powerful. The end.
Yeah, Joe's broken, and they got him. Like the Roman Federation just got him back. So
that was pretty good.
Okay.
All right, so we get to the part where Kris has to talk. Unfortunately,
Wait,
so.
do you have it written down?
Yeah, I do. Give me like 2 seconds.
Oh, he's got something written down. Also, I thought there were a bunch of like sound effects that were supposed to be played.
I forgot about it. Go ahead and play them all.
Damn it!
Yeah, just do a like charcuterie board.
Can you introduce them first?
Okay. So coming up first, we have sound A, Roach Crunch. Okay, then we got sound 2, Home Run sound effect.
Home run.
Well, I mean, like, what
Is that Alex?
what are the contexts?
That was for Alex.
That's Alex.
I was gonna play
Wow.
that in a specific scene, but when it happened, when I was like, yeah, you hit the home run, bro. But I just didn't. I forgot.
Play that again.
Home run.
I'll give $1 if one of you two could tell me what game that's from.
Wii Sports?
Yeah, Bryce got $1.
Oh, I said me. Damn.
All right. Sound C, Human Crunch. I was gonna play that.
That's not a crunch. That's a squid.
Dude, I literally forgot about a
That's a
scene
squeeze.
where a little girl okay, so there's this one scene that I didn't even mention, so we'll mention it before you do it. There's a part where a little girl comes into the room after the roaches have invaded the planet. She's like, mommy, there's a roach in my room. And the mom goes in there, and it's that giant roach, and she starts screaming like this. And then he rips her apart. So there you go. That's cool. And yeah, Kris, do your shit so we can leave.
Wait.
Oh yeah. Okay. What's the title?
Wait, now introducing.
All right, we got the segment. Kris reviews the media piece and reviews and says it with his mouth.
Okay.
Before you go, Kris, I was very against that name a couple weeks ago, but I think I've warmed up to it a little bit.
Yeah, it's grown on me.
Yeah,
the length of it hasn't, because I can't remember.
The thing is like I can't say it with like my armpit, any other part of my body. I have to say it with my mouth.
Yeah, I like to say things with my big toe, so I understand what you're saying, Kris. That makes a lot of sense.
See, that's a skill, right? Okay, so my only question is, before I do this, how much political stuff is sort of lost in translation here? Because I feel like you're really trying to go hard on all the action, because there's definitely like wall.
Yeah, I mean,
action here.
there's a lot of scenes of stuff that happens when that I didn't bring up as much, because
would you
it's
say
a lot more particular than what I got into.
It seems like the author does a lot of things happen, and then it's a like pull the rug out from under you. This is like a shocking reveal, but there's a lot of like it's been set up. It's not just bullshit. That's how.
Yes.
Okay. I don't love that like all the time, but I think the fact that everything seems really set up and like actually like calculated. I'd say I'd give this like a 7.5.
All right. It was short and sweet. Thank God. All right.
Yeah.
Any other comments from you two?
Oh, I have one thing.
I was gonna say I did really enjoy that. It was pretty entertaining. I like how Nolan would be like saying, "This is going on," and then this person just gets ripped to shreds. I thought that was pretty entertaining. Yeah, that's what I got.
Before we left, I wanted to ask. I thought this would have been a good Bryce chimes in. We know our favorite insects. What insect would we want to turn into?
I think I'd want to turn into a
or any organism, I guess.
I feel like I'd want to be a giraffe.
They are your favorite animal.
Yeah. What's cool about giraffes is that they have no good power too. So
yeah. Justin,
hopefully they kill me quick.
Yeah, I need to know what Justin, what animal would you like genetically modify yourself to?
Cat.
And I feel like we should stop before.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, well,
you guys don't get to hear everyone else's opinions
because Justin did a terrible job.
Well, all right. Well, what would you turn into, Brian?
By the way, there was a cat. There was someone that was like a wild cat type thing, but they get murdered. So it doesn't matter.
I want to know what. Yeah.
I can't look at you right now.
Am I not beautiful enough for you?
Did the orca person live?
I think no.
Oh.
You hate to see it go down like that for Jared.
Thanks for listening to our podcast, guys. We'll see you around next time.
I'm gonna go play Elden Ring to be dead ass, so I'll see you later.
Same.
Yo, real quick side note, we're gonna date this shit hard. Elden Ring just came out, and I mean, you are. Finish this PowerPoint because of it.
Let's go Elden Ring.
Yeah, fuck.
I mean, it was already kind of dated. Well, not really.
All right. Last part of the segment. Everyone, give your 10-second review of Elden Ring so far. Chris, go.
Elden Ring is really awesome. I like its RPG, but Dark Souls.
I think cool is good.
Dope.
Yeah, I think it's actually kind of amazing.
Yeah, yes.
Woo! You never answered my question.